Hello, YouTube. Hi, welcome on in. I appreciate y'all being here. Hey, welcome back in season 2. Welcome. Hey, this is Ed. Quite literally, the psychologist, the psycherino. I like to go ahead and drop a bunch of knowledge, a bunch of psychology and stuff. This is all about the characters' behaviors, their analysis. That's specifically what we're analyzing: behaviors, analysis, so on and so forth. If anything pops up as a prediction or anything like that, dude, that's not the point of this. The point of this channel is to promote mental health. Hence why even Mushoku Tensei, all the videos on here are unmonetized. We will be doing Mushoku Tensei Sunday. Every Sunday is a Mushoku Tensei Sunday, and throughout the week, guys, I'm gonna throw this out there. We have Arcane, we have Bunny Girl Senpai, we have Steins Gate, we have Heavenly Delusion, and we will probably have either Zom 100, you know, the new zombie one that's coming out, or the vending machine Isekai. It's gonna be one or the other. So if you guys are interested in any of that, come check us out. We tend to do this every Friday and Sunday, and throughout the week now at Psyculturists. Come join us, guys. Through that, hey, I've been so fucking hyped the entire week. I've been talking to SB. I've been talking to a whole bunch of people about this, like, you know, quite literally just everything happening on like about this, like, you know, Mushoku Tensei season 2. We've been trying to plan so many things. If throughout the stream I have to pause it for whatever reason, just know that it's more than likely because we have a very special guest joining us. It might be now, it might be later on throughout the stream. They're currently on vacation, so they're trying to go ahead and call in if they have the opportunity. With that being said, guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have been hyped, if Mushoku Tensei has changed your life or impacted your life in one way, shape, and or form, or in any way, shape, or form, drop me a hell yeah. Drop me a hell yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Drop me some Doritos, ladies and gentlemen. Drop me a fuck ton of Doritos, ladies and gentlemen. If Mushoku Tensei has made you think, has made you process, has made you feel things, has made you go ahead and analyze aspect, hell yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Drop that Doritos. It got me to read. Exactly. I'm so fucking hyped. Guys, I hope you guys are too. With that being said, hey, I will be taking notes. I actually got to get new paper, but hold on. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Where's my pen? Now that's the real question. I hope I didn't just throw them out there with Senor Pinguino. Uh, Give me un segundo, por favor. Because I don't know where the fuck my pen went. Oh, here it is. All right. Ooh. All right. I got my pen. I got my paper. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be taking notes throughout this entire thing. I haven't read ahead. Literally, all the reading streams, we've done them live. We've taken our time. We've had people from SB to other people in the community come in and like be a part of helping us be there. So with that being said, was reading the novels at 3 a.m. with unfinished thesis. Oof. Should I go get Senor Pinguino or should I just leave him there to suffer? What do you guys think? Hey, yo, I'm happy that I got on stream, but no worries. Stream, I was able to convince my girlfriend that my friend that his girl. Oh, well, thanks, man. I hope that's helped. Thank you so much, man. Suffer, save him, rescue the penguin. There was a vote, and it was 85%. Bring the penguin back. Okay, hold on. In case you guys don't know, I have a buddy that joins us, which tends to be. Oh, hold on. The episode accidentally pressed start because of my fucking headphones. We have a Pinguino here that's a part of the channel. It tends to help us out a lot throughout the entirety of things. So let me go grab him real quick. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I brought him back. Here's Senor Pinguino. Here's Mr. Cthulhu, baby Cthulhu. Ladies and gentlemen, we have both of them. Objective secured, ladies and gentlemen. Senor Pinguino is back. All right, there you go. Are you gonna analyze OP like an Oshinoko? I might. Depends. This is the first time I'm seeing this, so it just might. All right, you guys ready? Set. All right, let's go. Bruh. Ooh. What a phenomenal cold opening. Literally a cold opening. Hold on. Oh, you guys can't hear it? Hold on. Hold on. I gotcha. What a phenomenal cold opening. Specifically at this. What they've done right now off of the opening is again another very like older theater style of an opening, right? In case you're new to this and you're like, dude, I love Mushoku Tensei, but I've not seen your content. Dude, I've literally been trained in a lot of things, theater being one of the big aspects in my life, music, martial arts, you name it, right? Going through this, one of the big things that I'm noticing is, if you notice, no words. This opening has no words. So what is it intending to do? In psychology, we have a concept known as the sound of silence, right? And how silence is a powerful tool. What I'm wondering is this season going to focus on the semblance of like healing? Because silence in therapy, the way that we use silence is, let's say that there's a really, really tough moment like that, like if we remember season one, um, where something happens, right? Like with season one, Eris broke up with him, went off in her own way, and all of a sudden we have like our own little aspects, right? Analyzing the lack of an OP is just another level. Yeah. So now coming on through, and there's no OP, there's no opening. It's just the sound of what's happening around, right? No words have been spoken, but yet there's a gravitas to it. And in therapy, when we use the silence, we use it as a form of reflection. Therapeutic silence and even narrative silence in a person's life is often used as a form of reflectionary process. So I wonder if this is both an aspect and or a clue for us, the viewers, but also for the character, like that this may be. It might be a silence, it might be because it's early morning, it might be whatever, right? But for us as the viewers, the first aspect that we get of this season 2, episode 0 is silence. Just the sound that the world is continuing, the sound that no matter what, the world is still going through, right? The sound that like life is still brimming and life keeps going even throughout the entire incidence of what may be happening. Life is still going. Are you? Ooh, that is such an amazing way of creating an opening that I don't think I've experienced yet in a show. Remember, kids, no spoil. Yeah, please no spoilers in the chat. Please no spoilers in the chat. So this is again why like my mind is focusing onto this. Is it's going to be a season of change, a season of reflection, a season of growth. So right off the bat, my first big clue on this is just the silence and just like the silence that is being used to incorporate a message of this character and of what may come. She seems to be well off, right? And in the novels, from what we've read, especially from like Paul's backstory and all the different stuff that we've talked about nobilities, how fucked up they can be, right? And so I'm wondering if this person, I don't know who they are, has been able to go ahead and experience anything like that. And if so, has that warped their perception as to what the outside world is? So my mind is swirling and just the remnants of this, right? Which is like nobility, uh yeah, nobility and all the different aspects that come through. What does that mean? In case you guys see me on YouTube looking to the side, my main desktop computer broke down, so I'm using a PC at the moment to try and go ahead and like view my OBS and make sure it doesn't crash because I'm using crappy internet. But with that being said, let's go. To be honest, it seems lonely. Yeah, I know it's nighttime. I know it's nighttime, but just the way it almost feels like you're looking at a jail cell. When I'm looking at this, it almost feels like those individuals that are trapped by the hands of fate at times, where you can only do so many things. It's like a birdcage, exactly, exactly. Where you can only do so many things because there's this birdcage here, there's this jail, like the cell right there. You can't really escape, so you have to play within the grounds that you are given. That's oof. She feels the weight. Yeah, well, I mean, let's be real here, right? When we talk about what we can do in our capacity, and what our agents of change can be in this regard. It's not just the hands, but it's our environment in of itself, right? And looking at this, how this place looks, it looks cold, it looks damp, it looks, so on and so forth. Is she the prisoner of her own birth? I.e., was she born into this environment that she is now being held accustomed to? In which now the only way for her to come out is literally for something to either break through this or for her to be comfortable in working in the space that she has to come out. Finding the key to come out of the hole. So, for example, if I were to ask you guys, right, the better way of stating this, for you guys, how many of you guys feel like you're stagnating or you're trapped in a hole, in a deep hole, right? How many of you guys have wondered and felt like you're unseen, that you're unheard, that you're tied by the strings of fate at times, where you wish you had friends or individuals out there who could grab your hand and pick you up, and or maybe change your fate a little bit? Majority of people go through something like that, absolutely, right? And sometimes here's the thing: when we hurt, there's a saying, hurt people, right? When we hurt and we're not sure where we're hurting and we're like just desperately trying to find someone to help us up out of like this deep hole that we've fallen, we tend to hurt others as well. And so this is exactly why I'm like wondering. I'm like, number one, ecologically speaking, if we're to use Brofenbrenner's ecological theory, we're already looking in and we're observing the fact that, like, for her, yes, she might be well off, but it doesn't look like she's really happy and or content and or free and or there's life in here. So there's probably a lot of weight to do with this. So how will she navigate these realms? And how do you navigate your realms? Fuck, dude, just the wind. Ooh. Hey, yo. Hold
そ
on.
れで色は何色でしたか？
綺麗なピンク。
She's just fucking flying? Or is she free falling? Is she Supermaning that shit? Wait. Selfie. Señora Selfie. Señora Selfie. Dame un segundo. Vámonos para atrás. Hold on. Hold on. They fly now?
それで
Okay, doesn't
色
show.
は
But...
何色でしたか？
綺麗なピンク。いえ、ややオレンジがかっておりました。
私はやはり、綺麗な桜色がずんと上を向いているのが好きですね。
アリエル様、しかしながら内側に畳まれたものもそれはそれでよろしいものでございます。
まあ、ルークは陥没しているものもいいというの？
自分は大きければそれでよいかと。
まあ、ルークは陥没しているものもいいというの？
自分は大きければそれでよいか。
Hey, yo! I know we no longer talk about, hey, wait a minute. I know we no longer talk about cake here, brother. Hey, bro, we need to get you on something, brother. Like, hey. But to be fair, here's the thing, like, especially if we look back at how nobility used to talk and the inferences, right? Because there would be a lot of inferences and stuff like this. They would make dirty jokes, like at a constant like this, right? Like, oh, right. Would you like the cake inverted then? Right. Right, because for them, that's sort of like the joke, instead of just being like, ooh, booba. You're like, whatever, bro. I guess we know his, yeah. But through that, here's the thing is, what is a motivator for people? Legitimately. A lot of people seem to ask, wow, you guys haven't matured past that stage. Like, how can you guys not mature past that stage or whatever? Like, why are some people gross like this? It's not that people are gross. It's just that when it comes to our own understanding of society and or building propinquity, guess what? when it comes to the bottom concepts, this is the most common base level that all of us have. Characters have more of a motivation whenever it comes to trying to meet an aspect of their hierarchy of needs. So when we're looking at something like this, let's say that my dude is just like a fucking sex demon, right? Hold on. Here we go. He'll full on like he'll full on like so like demonio. What is he more than likely gonna be a demon for, right? Do you think aspects of self-esteem? Sure, if he's had the rest of this like open, right? But like sexual intimacy, being open with the partner, when we're looking at this, it's the more aspects that we need a need met, right? Whether and here's the thing: when it comes to sex, any trauma can make it either go into hyposexuality or hypersexual, or hypo or hypersexuality, right? Same thing with sleep homeostasis and whatnot, which is often the case as to why we relate to these concepts so well or so much. So looking at something like this and already looking at the jokes that they're making, it makes me wonder if this is sort of some of the big aspects that we're going to see on his character, i.e., sex being a big motivating factor in this thing. Here's the thing. Let me throw this out there. Hold on. I need to go into basic case face cam. Hey, you're watching this. You saying, the way that they use sex in Mushoku Tensei is in the series is deplorable. It's this and this and that. Like there's no psychological value in the show. Fuck you. You're wrong. I'm just gonna straight up say it. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. If you come to me and you say, "Hey, there's no value in Mushoku Tensei. The way that sex is produced or shown in Mushoku Tensei is wrong," you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Sex is not just sex. Sex can be used to change. Sex can be used to break a person. Sex can be used to quite literally form a connection, to break that connection. Sex can be used to heal at times. Sex can be used as a coping mechanism. Sex can be used as 101 other aspects, psychologically speaking. So when people come through, right, for example, if you look at Rudius's concept, what's like his journey through sex and the way that sexuality is presented in the show, it's been used to teach a lesson, which I think has been masterfully done. So me throwing this out there, I'm throwing this out there because I've seen people try and critique the show as just like a weird aspect, but no. If you actually take a step back and look at the show for what it's trying to go ahead and throw out there, it's trying to throw out there the aspects that sex can be used to change, to experience pain, to experience emotions, to experience so many different things, like as a motivating factor. So I'm just throwing that out there, ladies and gentlemen, just so that way, like, in case there's anybody out there, if you want to challenge me, feel free. Feel free. I invite you, if you have a challenge to say, Mushoku Tensei, there is no psychology in Mushoku Tensei, whatnot, I invite you to come on here and, like, especially if you're like, Rudius is horrible, whatnot, I invite you. Because I can literally, only off of seeing season 1, I can literally stand up here and say, you know what, Rudius and all of these characters, due to their ecological environment, like in their environment, have a lot, like it makes sense with their environment. It makes sense with what they're going through. So that's exactly why I'm throwing that out there, because I've seen a lot of people try and hate on an aspect like this when there's so much to show and so much at play here. And this little scene has brought up the concept again in the terms as to how we as a society, in a society even back then, interlude sex into their everyday conversational elements, especially nobility, which even now makes me wonder if these characters even have a deviancy in that sexual nature. I.e., I wonder, I'm gonna be straight up with you, it can be like, dude, you're cooking, hold on. Literally, you guys could be like, Ed, you're just fucking wrong. Like, Chef Ed, hold on. Chef Ed, Senor Chef Ed, you're fucking wrong here. And I would be like, okay, you know what? I might have overcooked. I might have cooked a little too much, you know? I might have gone in there with a little too much salt and pepper and fucking everything, and I might have overcooked it. But if they're introducing elements like this, it genuinely makes me wonder if there is some sexual deviancy at play here. You know, specifically to do with just the aspect that she's letting this happen and she's sort of egging this on. She's like, oh, so you don't like them like this? Oh, this is sort of the play of like nobility back in the day, but it makes me wonder if this is gonna sound rough, if she's ever abused her powers in a seat of nobility that she's in. Would you comply? Do you kind of have to, don't you? So my mind goes here, which is, how does one discover sexual elements in this world, especially as nobility? Is it because you're introduced and pushed into it, or is it because you observe and you take on from there? Because we've all known, especially if you've seen season 1, how fucked up nobility is in this world. So I'm just throwing that out there, ladies and gentlemen. That's me with my little. That was cooking time with Ed. Hold on. All right, and now we continue.
まあ、ルークは陥没しているものもいいというの？
Also, thanks so much for the
自
hydrate,
分は
Raccoon.
大きければそれでよいかと。
ルークは風情がありませんわね。
Oh, she free falling for
アリエル
real.
様、あなたはこれからこの国の王になられるお方。つまらぬ風聞や式場で敵を作るのは好ましくありません。
あのね、デリック。あなたいつもそう言うけれど、私は第二王女なのよ。兄上が2人、姉上が1人。あの方々がいる限り、私が王になるなど無理な話。
しかし、
私はこうしてお茶を飲み、好きなように生きていくだけで十分。
But what if you were given freedom? Right now, you are chained by the hands of birth order. You say that you have older siblings and whatnot. So right now, what comes to mind is the fact that she is, that she is literally chained to the fate of being, being in the birth order that she's in. If I, Evil Ed, were in her shoes, what would I do? As Evil Ed, what I would do immediately is I would try and find the strongest people I could. Because if we were in a race for competition, in a medieval setting like this, we know that people come after one another and they try and assassinate and or kill one another for positions of power. So what would I do? Immediately try and find people who are smarter than me, who are stronger than me, who are some of the strongest in the world, get them to my side. If I can keep a form of control over you, will you do something? I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Will you do something for me? Would you be able to go ahead and do this for me in order for me to be able to go ahead and break the chains of fate that I have on me? This is immediately what comes into mind. As I'm looking through this, as I'm hearing this birth order stuff come out, I'm like, that's a lot of fucking weight. Imagine this. You can not only like not do certain stuff because you're a part of nobility. Guess what? You will never be successful. You will never be queen or king because of your birth order. You will always be looked at as like the second child or the third child or the fourth child. You will never have the aspects and aspirations that others have and the freedom to do something because you have to act the way that the good prince or princess that you are. That's what you have to act. So like that's exactly where my mind races to. It's like you have to remember in a show like this, in an anime like this, there's 23 minutes and 40 seconds in this show, in that at least is portrayed in this anime website. Therefore, every scene that is shown has a meaning to it, and that's why I'm like, She gave him the biggest fucking bunk out there. The mods when you guys try and post some fucking horny shit in general. Oh fuck. Oh, that looks cool, but also I know it's a horny bunk. Her hair changing color and her gasping. This for me was a major moment that I'm like, wait a minute. So this, hold on. What the fuck? What the fuck? So is this because automatically of like the big displacement incident, i.e. you're already sort of drained of mana because say the displacement incident like happened and it fucking shot you out 1,000,000 miles per hour and you're trying to use magic and your body's already being tossed at that force, right? I.e. you have to compensate like, so on and so forth. Is this like mana deficiency or is this because of the incident that like it just fucking just drains you extra? Like what is happening here? Like holy shit, dude. In order to have that, in order to like maintain your cool, and especially at a young age that Sylphie is, like, yeah, she's freaking out, she's yelling, but it's not like she's just like not doing anything about it. That's where my mind's like,
Ariel-sama, お逃げを! アリエル様、必ず王になりますよ。ルーク、あとは任せたぞ。
Bro, that was a full-on squish. That was a full-on squish. Oh, oh. Hey, yo. I guess you have to check them to make sure that there's no, like, hold on. I guess you have to check them to make sure that there's no like extra damage or whatnot, like, you know, hidden cuts or bruises, or you're not internally bleeding. I get that. I get that. Yeah, sure, surely. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like in a house that looks kind of big, it's interesting that she's using her bed. Is it not? Like, for me, this is striking a red flag. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This is automatically striking at like a big red flag in terms of being careful. Like, as like, let's say that because number one, it's boundaries. And I know some of you guys are gonna say, well, if you look at the times back then, there weren't really boundaries, and you're right. Like, but like looking at it through like a current perspective, this is why I would say that there's a red flag, which is if there were no other beds, right? I would be like, okay, that makes sense. But considering how big this house is, it looks like the same one like, you know, what she woke up in. Not her bed. Lots of guests. Oh, could be. But I'm just like, could be.
夢ではありません。ここはアスラ王宮です。
Royal Palace. Fuck.
あなたはどこから来たのですか？上の村。どうしてここに？わかんない。いきなり空の上にいて。フィットア領は消滅したようです。
Oh shit. Please never trauma dump someone like this, ladies and gentlemen. You want to talk about literally just if you are gonna deliver news, ladies and gentlemen, don't just say it like, yeah, so that region's no more. The last thing you want to do is make someone go into, unless that's her purpose, but the last thing you want to do is make someone go into shock, right? Because quite literally, imagine this: your world is taken away from you. Granted, news would eventually get out, right? And you do have to be upfront. But if someone were to tell you, hey, yeah, your family and everyone you know, gone. Yeah, who are you? Where are you from? That place is no more. That's really, really traumatizing. At the same time, it establishes an air of dependency. I have two questions that is coming through this interaction. She is a princess that's allowing this person that was strong enough to kill this boar in on her bed, or in on one of the guest beds, whichever one it is, right? With no protection, like in the room or in the environment, to just in case she was a threat, right? Number two goes in and just automatically explains this, which for me means that she's trying to go ahead and establish a sense of trust almost immediately by not having that guard person in there to scare her when she's awake, because that is a thing, i.e., if another person of power is available and or present when you wake up, you're more than likely going to feel on guard and can make you an enemy, right? Considering they're around the same age and the power dynamics that's already shifted, you can go ahead and say that you trust them so much, therefore they owe you a little bit of something. So I'm thinking about this, I'm like, immediately what is coming to mind is just the power dynamics that are being set here. We don't see the guard. By the way, guys, in case you guys are trying to say, hey, can you read my stuff? I can't read it at the moment just because you guys are on a smaller screen on the side. So I'm just literally cooking for a bit, you know. Yeah, the power dynamics and taking control over. So that's exactly where we're at, which is when we're looking at that, it's sort of like there is a power dynamic that is being set non-verbally. And even verbally, just now, I have information that you don't. I'm just going to go and let you know that the Fatilla region is no more. Fuck, dude. Wow. Wow. What a way to just introduce the scale of that power dynamic like that. If anybody else would have done this, I would have been like, Okay, thanks so much for the hydrate.
あなたの故郷はもうありません。あなたの家族も友人も探し出すのは困難でしょう。
What do you think would be a good way to break the news? Slowly. Even what you just did right now and reaffirming it, what options does that leave Sophie with? And I mean this like in a positive way, right? She's more than likely going to have to be dependent on them for a bit. She's more than likely going to have to, yeah. Because where else does she have to go? So she's more than likely, psychologically speaking, has to be dependent on them in order to be able to survive. Yeah, because if we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we know that at the very bottom, right, you have to have your needs met in order for you to actualize and be able to be okay. How old is Sophie when this happened, ladies and gentlemen? How old is Sophie? She's 10. Well, let's look at this. Let's look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at this. All right, Sophie's around 10 years old when all of this happened. Children need to cope with new and social and academic demands. Social, ecological is involved in here. Success leads to a sense of competence. Failure leads to a sense of inferiority. How can I be good? Oh, wait a minute. Because we're already talking about dependency. If we're bringing this up with how can I be good? Oh, wait. You guys will never understand. Master Nick was amazing. He said I was a good boy. Have you guys heard the story of Master Nick? Master Nick allowed me to go ahead and, flourish as myself. Oh, man. Master Nick said I was a really good boy. Like, trauma at this point in time, the people that you idolize and the people that save you get stuck in your mind. Right, and especially during a school age, we were looking at this at Oshinoko as well. And when we're looking at this specifically, it even furthers it, right? But let's take a look earlier, right? When was she being bullied in that whole incident? Because bullying can be traumatic. There's no point in playing it. How old was she when she was being bullied and whatnot? At 5. Am I good or bad? Exploration or play? True, she was being bullied. She wasn't allowed to play. Initiative versus guilt. Children need to begin asserting control and power over their environment. Success in the state leads to a sense of purpose. Failure leads to resulting in a sense of guilt. Whoo! Guys, if that's not fucking calling it out, like, am I good or bad? Am I okay for being alive and having this green hair or not? Am I a good or bad person? Therefore, right? Success leads to a sense of purpose. Failure does not. Failure, this is sort of where dependency and especially seeing the rest of these traumatic moments pop up. Oh, but Rudy can be my purpose. I can save him. Oh, but you can be my purpose. I can save you. Oh, but this person that just saved me, she can be my purpose. She can be. I can be there for her. Right? Right? Like, just over the top. Like, this is what this leads into. The trauma that is being developed as of right now, because it's not properly healed, can develop into these set requirements as they grow. I am terrified. I am terrified for what this can mean. This could also mean that they can, like, if properly treated in a healthy environment, they can grow and be healthier and whatnot. I'm not displaying that at all. But I'm just saying that when it comes to an aspect like this, it can be quite a bit. Can be quite a bit. Damn. Damn. Anyway, all right, let me bring back this concept here. Oh, all right, here we go.
あなたの処遇についてですが、王宮への侵入についての罰が下ると思います。
Oof.
これをつけて私のそばにいれば、あなたの
I'm not a wizard. I'm not a wizard. Think about what you just played, dude. That power dynamic, baby. That power dynamic, baby. Oh yeah, no, everything's meant. But if you stay by my side, I swear I'm gonna find your family. You'll be safe. You'll be what? Lovely power dynamics being present here, dude. Literally, like since the moment of introduction, when the power dynamics are real, this is exactly what you see. You see like manipulative individuals. By the way, this doesn't mean that she's a good or bad person. No, I'm by no means way or shape saying anything like that. In fact, I'm saying that in their environment, this makes sense. And I think this is a big aspect. And I want to go ahead and say this right here, right now. If you're watching this, let's break apart this concept of good or bad. We aren't good or bad. We are a scale of gray. We do stuff often to try and like help us or help us in the future orientate or whatnot. So when we're looking at a character or any character like this, let's play that into mind. Yeah. Which is like, it makes sense for her to try and want someone like Sophie.
の家族を探し出すと約束しましょう。大丈夫。私が力になります。それまで、今この瞬間から名前も姿も変えて。
A new face and name. What I'm terrified though is how much more trauma has Sophie encountered. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. This even terrifies me more because she did put on the glasses, so therefore she accepted. But how much more trauma did she experience? Let's look at Maslow real quick again. When it comes to this, do you think that because of being in this environment, we know nobility, she has maybe encountered or been, because of the power dynamic, I'm just gonna call it how it is, because of the power dynamics present, do you think that she has had maybe some issues with or been pressed into having sex, been pressed into like the whole security aspect has already been pressed there, right? Which is quite literally like, oh, if the truth comes out, you're out, good luck. Your whole thing that you're trying to build up again, cracked. All of this is at the dawn and will of those in nobility that she's working for. Terrifying. Absolutely fucking terrifying. And that's the thing. When it comes to this, people that are expert manipulators and people who hurt others tend to be aware of where you are and how they can move certain things around in order to try and make you, oh man, I'm paying attention to this. I'm like, this hurts. This hurts. Psychological. So chaos. Here's my thing is, psychological might be met at the moment, right? So if we look at this, the psychological aspects might be met at the moment, but who's not to say that the nobility that she's staying with doesn't just take it away, i.e. I need this. So now she's pressed to give it, otherwise everything is threatened. She might be up here building up her self-esteem and confidence and say that, like, I'm just gonna call it how it is. Say that, like, you know, a predator nobility man comes through, right? He's like, yeah, yes, right? He's like, oh, well, if you don't stay the night with me, I'm gonna make sure that you get fired and that nobody else could like ever, like, you will never have a place to work at again. See what I'm getting at? All of a sudden it turns very, very fucking creepy. Sound is weird because temporary setup. Yep. Oh, I hope my sound is okay, ladies and gentlemen. And also, you guys have to remember, I am also running this through a gaming laptop at the moment, just because I don't have my desktop with me. The sound is fine. Okay, beautiful. Has to depend on the grace of others. Exactly, exactly. This is oof, oof. Yeah, you're audible. We're good. Okay, good. Let me bring this up right here. Maybe this will help a little bit. And don't make Sophie and Fitz very different characters. Yeah, bro. Yeah, very, very different. It's not a desktop. This is a gaming PC, brother. A gaming laptop. My bad. The sound is good for TV. I'm not using headphones. Ah, okay.
アリエル様、おはようございます。おはようございます。ルーク、フィッツ。
Even Luke, dude. Same person.
気持ちのいいや。
Wait a minute.
アリエル様、おはようございます。おはようございます。ルーク、フィッツ。
This is to all of you that were like, no, they're different people. They're different people, and oh, you did different people, and all of you fucking gaslighting me. I'm like, no, the hair's the fucking same. Like, this has to be fucking Sylphie. And you guys were like, no, different people. Sorry, different people. I don't know. Fitz is a boy. Different people. Oh, no, 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 no. It's just a meme, dude. I know. I'm also fucking memeing. No sé qué. Viendo Fitz. Ah.
気持ちのいい朝ですね。ルーク、本日の予定はどうなっていますか？
朝食の後、午前中は大広間で懇談会。午後からはいつも通りピレモン教との会合があります。
ピレモン教だなんて他人行儀な。あなたのお父様ではありませんか？
公私混同は避けろと言われておりますゆえ。いらっしゃったぞ。アリエル様だ。
皆様、ごきげんよう。ごきげんよう。ごきげんよう。ごきげんよう。 ピレモン教ではないですか。
これはアリエル様。午後からの会合、お忘れなきよ。
分かっています。
おや、これはアリエルにピレモン教。何やら二人で密談しているようだが。
あら、グラーベルお兄様、ごきげんよう。聞かれてしまいましたか。実は本日のおやつは何にしましょうかと密談を。
その通りでございます。
おやつといえば、妾の子の私とは違い、正妃の血を引く高貴な妹君は、最近になって木の実がたっぷりと乗った豪勢なケーキの魅力に目覚めたと聞き及んだのだが。
何をおっしゃいますのお兄様。そんなケーキ、私のような未熟者にはまだ似合いませんわ。
ピレモン教。 貴殿は昔からケーキの上の木の実を最後まで取っておいては誰かに横取りされ食べられてしまっていたな。そう。
It's again interesting how they're using the concept of cake and whatnot to literally refer to something else, right? Berries and whatnot, jewels, power, so on and so forth. What I find, I'm wondering if there's going to be a sibling civil war here. I'm just going to be straight up with you. I wonder, like, I legitimately wonder if there's going to be a sibling civil war here. Hold on. Have to fix this. Have to fix this. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I do wonder if there's going to be like a sibling civil war or something happening here. By the way, do you need to read comments on YouTube from your older videos or just from the most recent ones? It depends from time to time. It literally just depends if I have the time or if the mods approve it. I usually don't read a lot of the comments until after the mods have approved it. And apparently there was a goal for Mexico. You guys can hear my dad yelling. He's here watching the TV. Pointed to my mouth. Got it. If you guys hear him yell, that's how you know. That's how you know he's watching a game right now. But through that, this is one of the big aspects that like I'm sort of like at, which is what code words do we use to try and interact with one another, and why so? What does this mean for the future of individuals and or just in general, right? Just in general for these siblings. Does this mean that every single time you talk to one another, you have to be careful, otherwise they come after you, or like,
俺も望まぬものに。
そんなこともございましたでしょうかね。
貴殿もいい年だ。そろそろ木の実を誰に譲るかぐらい。
Ooh,
自分で決め。
whom you should seed that berry for yourself. Ooh.
でも良いのではないか。
それはもうグラーベル殿下の他にはおりません。
それなら良いのだ。
Wait, but think about the way that he's playing this off, right? Who's gonna be like the aspect of secession here? Why should potential candidates fight for the throne? Well, it's not even necessarily fighting as it is just political aspects of like, you know, destroying one another. Welcome to court politics in Mushoku Tensei. Right. Well, in the way that he's approaching this is like quite nasty, because you usually like it's cornered in public, calling yourself your mother a concubine and the mother of the, like, you know, queen. Who do you prefer? I'm the oldest. It's like a little kid throwing a tantrum this time, Ed. I know it's talking about secession, bro. That's sort of what I was referencing. That's why I was mentioning that like berries and cake don't necessarily mean the same thing. They're talking about like different, like, you know, power, moments of political strife, so on and so forth. Anyway, feels like they have nothing better to do than yeah.
アリエル、今度またあの綺麗な歌声を聞かせてくれよ。お前が表舞台に立つのは歌う時だけでいい。不気味だな。
アリエル様の動きですかな。
それだけではない。なんと言ったか、エルフの妙なメガネの。
無言のフィッツですね。
フィッツ。
笑うところは愚か、話すところさえ誰も見ておりません。
体が左右に揺れているぞ。立ちっぱなしで足に来ているのだろうが耐えろ。そして視線は常にアリエル様だ。これはヘルメス夫人、今日もお美しい。
まあルーク様ったら、お父上のピレモン卿はお元気？
ええ、確かあちらに。少し外す。気を抜くなよ。
あれが噂の無言のフィッツ。
とても貴族には見えんな。
魔術師団にはもっと生まれの高貴な者が大勢いるという。
という言葉を知らんか。
俺たちも知れない。
上級貴族のお年
アリエル王女はあんな目に遭われる。
Let's be real. Hold on. This just showcased something a lot of people I feel dismissed. I feel like a lot of people automatically dismiss this. This is quite literally showcasing the other form as to what could have happened to Rudius. Let's be real. Let's be absolutely real. Rudius in the same environment thrived because he knew how to get along and do stuff, right? In terms of like being able to go ahead and like kiss butt, do whatever he needs to do to go ahead and fit in. Meanwhile, you throw any other kid in this environment and it's overwhelmed. Wow, look at them, ill-bred, all of this negative talk and whatnot. You flip the script and you, like, you know, both of them, kids being pushed onto like this nobility role. You can see the difference as to what happens in a situation like this. This is like awesome fucking storytelling. My mind, like I'm legitimately like inside, I'm like, whoa. Used as pawns is the same like power, right? For like nobility purposes and shit. But like still, we get to see the way that like different people react differently towards the immense power that is present. In the contents of Rudius and Ghislaine, but Yeah. If the plot was about him engaging with Australian politics, like this would have happened to him, but he would have been able to go ahead and adjust, right? In terms of like the roles being given, i.e., she had like let me break it down like this. Rudius was not given the role of silent Rudius. Rudius was given the role of being a tutor. Therefore, he had to adjust to the nobility present. Therefore, he could express his opinions. Therefore, he could express himself. Therefore, he could do so many things to showcase what he knows. Fitz, on the other hand, has been casted as silent Fitz, i.e., you must take it all. I.e., you cannot express yourself or you give yourself away. I.e., you can only hear but never say anything back. Oof. Oof. I think the silent thing was so that they wouldn't, and find out. But that's the point, is because she adopted this role, right? Because she had to adopt this role. Now she has to adopt some of the consequences of not being able to use your verbal cues to try and like fit it in or blend in with the environment. Now you stick out like a sore thumb. Now wherever you go, you know that people are going to be criticizing you in any way, shape, and or form. Rudius would at least be able to go out and talk back and scheme one of his schemes or whatever in a skill. He might not like it. He might not like the environment, but he would be scheming and talking and trying to like form alliances and friends and all of these different things. Can Fitz do that? No, she can't talk to others. Oof. She has been caught into the bird cage of the role that the princess has given her. Man, this hurts. This hurts. Rudy would have called it out like the son of the disgrace of the Nautilus family. Yeah, he probably would have. But he would also make like a joke and whatnot, you know. And she's 10. Yeah. That's another big aspect. That's why I'm like, oof. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to protect Sylphie, why don't you guys drop all the Doritos to protect Fitz? Protect Fitz at all costs, ladies and gentlemen. Drop all the Doritos. I know I would. I know I'd be there fucking be like, you draw the criticism towards myself, because fuck that, dude. Nobody, especially at 10, deserves to be like having this much fucking hate and shit thrown at you. It changes you, man. Trauma at this early of an age makes you literally, like, any person that shows you kindness, like, you adopt to them. Also, what she's showcasing here, hold on. Yes, it might be because she's hearing, like, everything. A panic attack. Anxiety. Panic attacks don't necessarily like an anxiety attack doesn't necessarily always have to be sweaty palms and like breathing and whatnot. It can be just the overstimulation. It's too much. Hearing everything, you know, we can see it. How many of you have ever been overstimulated at an event, at a party, at something? I'll be honest, I have. I have a code word that I have with like my partner and with my friends and stuff whenever we go out, and like if I feel too overstimulated, or if I feel like my social battery, like literally, like imagine just Zelda hearts, right? And it's like slowly counting down because of like, you know, social interactions and whatnot. If I feel like it's going too low, I have a cue, I have a saying like, hey, I got a dip. Otherwise I feel like it's too much. Otherwise I can feel like, oh, wait a minute, like I enjoy being out, I enjoy being social and whatnot, but if it's too much, it's too much. I had panic attacks in crowded trains. Yeah. And people often just downplay it as like the overly top, like oh, panic attack. But no, sometimes it can just be like you're sitting there, you hear people talking, and just the noise can be too much, and you're just in your own head hearing everything. Yeah, anxiety can be a lot, man.
これはフィッツ殿、大丈夫ですか？さあ、お手を。お、随分と華奢な手をしておられる。
本当だ。まるで少女のような。
Oh no, Fitz. Oh no. Good cover.
小麦の海原のすら王国永遠なれ I 兄上から歌のリクエストがございましたもので。
さすがは我が妹。ブラボー。
We all wear different masks, and I brought this up before. We all wear a bunch of different masks. When, as a student, as a teacher, as a boyfriend, girlfriend, as a partner, as whatever, we all wear a bunch of different masks every single day. And sometimes I'm kind of curious, but if you were to take away a majority of the masks that you wear in public, to smile even when you're feeling depressed, or, you know, to act nonchalant even when you're really, really angry, what is the real you? For a lot of these nobilities that are coming through and they're putting on all these, like, you know, the pageantry of masks that they have layered on, that the only thing you can see is from time to time you see them seeping through. What is the real them? You can say, yeah, wearing the mask is a part of you. The mask might be a portion of you, but what is the real them? And that's one aspect that I'm coming through from this, because all of this, like, fake niceties that you have to adjust to, even in life, you know, we've all, if you worked in customer sales, at some point you've had to done the customer sales laugh, where you've had to laugh at a really, really not funny joke just to get a customer going, you know, or so on and so forth. It's like, I wish I had the mask of emo for the moments like this. That's why I'm like, this show's tackling a lot of different aspects that are.
それでは皆さん、改めてアスラ王国の輝ける未来に乾杯。
相変わらずすごい人気ですね、アリエル様は。
Hey, yo, Fitz.
アリエル様が起点を聞かせてくれて助かったな。
ごめんなさい。いいのよ、フィッツ。あなたは私の命の恩人なのだから。何かあれば必ず私とルークが助けるわ。だって私たちもうお友達みたいなものでしょ。
When your boss calls you friends. When your boss calls you a friend. Oh, no. Oh, no. I mean, yes, but no. Oh, God. We're a family here. At this point in time, saying that she might legit, she has trauma, and she is going through PTSD. It's more than likely PTSD-C, which is complex if you guys look it up in the DSM-5. And one of the key aspects through this is like repetitive nightmares, repetitive dreams like that. We're looking at an individual who more than likely feel these types of things, who are more than likely their anxieties skyrockets, whatnot. Someone that's more than likely going to try and overstep at times, right? Whenever it comes to a situation like this, especially knowing her backstory, knowing the key developmental areas we've already seen and scratched off, just because she did not meet those milestones, or those milestones were affected, we can already see that, like, number one, she might be really, really dependent on any people from her past if they do show up. Two, is she a good girl? Is she a bad girl? Not like in the sexual kind of way, but like legitimately in the, am I a good person? Am I a bad person? I need someone to reassure that of me. The only person that did that for me was Rudius. I can fix people. There's so many different self-esteem issues that pop up, and at its core, right, is, am I worthy of being saved? Am I worth saving? Can I save others? There's so much at play here that I'm like, it's wonderful that they're giving Fitz a backstory. I'll be honest, I did not expect episode 0 to start off with Fitz. I thought we were going to start off with Rudius. So for me, it's interesting that we're getting this backstory in this way. But I'm also like, what does this mean if they're giving us what they've gone through, what Fitz is going through. Does this mean that we're gonna eventually see how Fitz correlates back in, and it is an agent of change for Rudius? And this is why we're showcasing this story first. Anyway. This is wild, man. This is fucking wild. Like,
これで主だったところへの根回しは済みました。アリエル様。
回りくどいやり方ですが仕方ありませんね。私が兄に勝っているのは人気だけですから。
ですが、人気ほど移ろいやすいものはない。地道な足場固めが必要です。
ええ、分かっております。
それまでは隙を見せないように。
ええ。
ルーク、殿下の守護をしっかりと務めるように。はっ。
フィッツも宮殿の作法に慣れてきましたね。
いえ、まだまだです。
そうしてひたむきに頑張る姿は好ましく映りますよ。
どうでしょう。少なくとも貴族の人たちには嫌われているみたい。
無造無造の噂など気にすることはありません。私はあなたを気に入ってます。
ありがとうございます。アリエル様、僕の友達や家族は見つかりましたか？
何分世界中に散らばっているようなので。
そうですか。
See, that's one of the rougher aspects that I'm getting here. Who is, like, just off of this just showcase right now, who is Fit's source of information for them to be able to go ahead and like find out what happened? Who is Fit's sources of information? The princess. Who has the power dynamic here? The princess. Whoo! Like, you're telling me, like, not even reports are going to her at all? It's all just straight up, like, the princess is the only one that can withhold information from you? Or tell you what she wants you to... I know she's telling the truth, but that's still a really, really dangerous game to play, you know? Total control, yeah.
いえ、僕一人では何もできなかったし、感謝してます。
そうだ、フィッツ。今晩私の部屋に来なさい。最近あなたは夢見が悪くうなされていると聞きます。誰かと一緒に寝れば和らぐのでは？
でもルーク、なんとか言ってよ。
いいじゃないか。褒美と受け取っておけ。
褒美って
エビンクサベティアボーロエビン。
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is not saying what I think it's saying, right? Hold on. Thanks so much for the follow, but hold on. This is not just pointing. Hold on. This is not just pointing directly to that, is it? Like, hold on. Wait a fucking minute. Wait a minute. This is not just pointing towards that, right? Like, because if so, I'm not a wizard, guys. I'm not a fucking wizard. This just goes off of what, like, you know, we read in the novels on stream and so on and so forth about, like, nobility and how they are in general. But not only is it total control, but now it's,
アリエル様ですが、騎士団や衛兵たちの中に患者を送り込んでいると報告が。
クーデターでも起こす気か。
まさかそこまで短慮ではありますまい。ただ駒を増やすためかと。
政治的な影響力は持っていない連中だが、
騎士団や衛兵には平民手が多い。アリエル王女にとっては手のつけやすい相手でしょう。まずは手始めにという意味もあるのでしょうな。それに彼女は紙幣を持ちませんしな。
なるほど。王都で何かが起きた時、実際に動くのは末端。そのほとんどがアリエルの息がかかったものに変われば、 クーデターが起きかねない。
なかなか先見の明がある。
どうする？
どうもこうもありませんな。殿下の敵となるならばおのずとやるべきことは決まりましょう。
というと？
芽を摘むのではなく種をまくものを刈り取るのです。
分かった。ダリウス、お前に任せよ
う。仰せのままに、グラーベル殿下。
So I'm assuming that like some stuff was added for censorship purposes on this one, just because it looks that way. But through this, isn't it interesting how even in the background, like, you know, sex workers or individuals like this, yeah, I was about to say it makes sense. I've sent you the uncensored video. Oh, well, I need to fucking check it out at some point. But it makes sense, right? Nobility will try and have some sort of control over others, right? That's sort of what's been common in this like world, in this worldview or whatnot, is the areas of form and control that they try to have. So through that, a big aspect that comes to me is, this is gonna sound rough, where do they put the brakes? Where do they stop? I don't mean the show, I mean nobility in general. Are they even willing to go as far as Alabamaing it, if you guys know what I mean, just to get their needs met, just to go ahead and like, you know, be like, okay, I have power over you. I have power. I gave you permission to do this behind me, right? There's a play happening and you're over there with like, you know, a worker while this play is happening. We're talking about politics and that worker is hearing and understanding everything. Like, yeah, we're talking about a system of power and control here, where clearly those around them are given the opportunity and or the references to do certain things. They stop right before they would get caught, right? And if they do get caught, you subvert it. And this is like a cycle that we're starting to see, and that's why I'm like, this is something else, man. This is something else. It's introducing like court politics and everything.
言われた通り来ましたけど。
よく来ました。さあ、ベッドへ行きましょうか。
一緒に寝るだけですよね。
ええ、もちろん。
目が怖い。
怖いことなんて。確かに今私興奮しています。
I'm done. I'm done, boys. I'm done. I'm done, boys. Oh no, guys. No. Because this isn't. She has control, right? And again, nobility makes sense, right? We've been talking about this. She has control over her emotionally at the moment by giving her knowledge, right? Financially, right? Security wise. Now you're telling me that she's also going to have a physical form of control over her through sexuality? Oh. I'm sorry, Senor Pinguino. What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck is that? Oh no, this is not healthy. This is not healthy, boys. This is no bueno, senors. Guys, this is, if we're talking about this time period, makes sense. I'm not judging that, but I'm just talking about, is this healthy? The answer is no. Is this healthy? The answer is no, but the weeb in us is yelling, hell yeah, brother. Can I get a hell yeah? But is this healthy? Oh. Oh no. Oh, but it makes sense. That's the thing, is it makes sense time period wise, right? It makes sense time period wise. It makes sense ecologically, even speaking. Like nobility. I'm sorry. We can look at Paul. We don't gotta go that far, brothers. We can look at Paul, right, when he was a young kid and what he did. We can look at other nobles and like their stories and probably assume the same thing. Nobility has a chain of thought where they want control, and if they get this form of control, what does this mean? What does this mean? Like for me, this was just to be expected. This is just to be expected. That's why I'm like,
ますが、さあベッドに横になりなさい。
Hey, yo, how many times have you done
怖いってア
this?
リエル様。
怖くない。
ダメだよ。アリエル様も知ってるでしょ。僕は
知ってます。
Hey, yo.
ですからあなたにも
Hey.
私を知ってもらいたいんです。なんて。冗談はこれくらいにしておきましょう。
Oh, fuck, dude. Oh,
一緒に
scared.
寝るだけ。
I was scared, brother. I was scared, brother. I was sweating bullets here. I'm like, do I have to put up the black screen here? Is this about to break TOS on Twitch? Wee woo, wee woo. I feel unsafe, SpongeBob. Wee woo. I was getting really fucking terrified, guys. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
そう言ったでしょ。それとも本当に襲われるとでも？そういう顔を見ると襲いたくなりますが、本当に寝るだけ。私も夢を見るんです。
Oh.
夢ですか。
Oh.
あの日の夢。デリックが魔物に殺されて、そのまま私も。そんな悪夢です。
Right.
アリエル様も。
ええ。あなたの辛さはわかりませんが、あの日に辛い目にあった。
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna fucking happen. Yeah, she might be real here, but what she just set up is literally known as priming. In a social psychological sense, we have a tool, a concept known as priming, right? I.e., you might see this through other concepts like through relationship psychologists or whatnot, where you'll often see, aside from trauma bonding, this is propinquity, this is priming, and this is trauma bonding all at once, which is we start off as a joke, right? As a high peak, i.e. to try and see if you match up there. If you don't match that level, guess what? Now we're going to bond. Now I'm going to see if you can come down to the emotional base support that I know you at, which I know for a fact you're going to go ahead and match. Guess what? Now that we're here, we can climb this up together because now we're emotionally empathizing with one another. We're bonding over the trauma that we both shared, right? Which is your displacement incident and my thing here. Empathizing is a-okay. There's nothing wrong with empathizing. But coming off through a priming incident where you started off by jesting, right? And you're trying to ping here. You know that the ping is not being received here, so it's coming back down here. You're probably gonna meet down here and then push it up. It's only with individuals that have all of Maslow's hierarchy of needs for the most part met that they know how to move certain things around to get this priming effect done. This is what makes me a little bit worried. It genuinely makes me realize like she can be real here, but at the same time, this is being pushed in that sense, you know. And this makes me wonder if say that they do it and say that Fitz is healed from her nightmares, do they adopt the concept that sex heals? Oh man, what the fuck did this writer like? My dude was cooking hard when he wrote this, like just character interactions wise. This like because all of a sudden, guess what? Oh, you're in danger. Oh, well here, why don't you go ahead and do this, right? Yeah. This is cooking based off of quite literally character interactions and normality. I hate to put it this way. Guess what? You fear like you're going to a breakup. This is normal life, by the way. Me saying this, me mentioning this is not me saying, oh, this is bad. Fuck no. I'm saying this is real. This happens. Why? Say that you're about to break up with your partner, right? Or you fear as though you see signs that you're about to break up. If you're an anxious person, what do? Oh, we're going to have sex. We're going to use sex to try and heal over our problems. Sex is going to be the number one aspect of trying to go ahead and put a tarp over all the problems that we see. Oh, you're having nightmares? Oh, well, what if we do this? What if we get you so tired that you can't have those nightmares? Even in couples counseling, I have individuals who come in here and you'll be surprised where partner A would do everything and anything possible to keep partner B from experiencing any kind of hardship. And you're just like, that's not healthy. You know, connection is what makes us heal. Time is what makes us heal. From time to time, yes, sex can be transformative and healing as well. But if you're just using it as a means to an end, it can be dangerous. Like, whoa, whoa.
辛いと思ったら誰かを頼ってもいいんですよ。私はあなたを頼りにしています。
And it makes sense with Rudius's journey. Wow.
あなたと一緒にいれば悪夢を見なくても済むかもしれないから。
僕、きちんとアリエル様の護衛頑張るよ。
Okay, she affirmed.
いい
Door
心がけ
open.
ですね。では差し当たって夢の中でもお願いします。
Twice.
それでは寝ましょうか。
はい、アリエル様。
Oh. Maybe not. I was wrong. Hold on. I gotta be real about this, guys. Apparently it's a trend. YouTube, this is not a ukulele, but I'm sorry I was wrong. My predictions aren't always right, man. My analysis on character behavior and whatnot aren't always right, dude. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know, the wizard Roni, Poppy Roni, psychology Roni, Etta Roni gets shit wrong from time to time, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what else to say other than that. Like, it fucking happens, man. It happens. Also, hold on. There we go. Oh. Oh, I know. Connection is huge. Hey, yo, wait, oh, wait a minute. Who the fuck are you? Fucking lurkers in the chat be like... Lurkers in the chat be like... I'm fucking dying. Oh no, lurkers in the YouTube comment section just like favorite anime. Wait, hold on. We gotta throw this shit on, right? Oh man, this shit's killing me. You guys are too much. Did she just raw Zengon her ass? She literally just raw Zengon her ass out of the window, did she not? She literally just... Oh, shit. Oh, fuck, dude. Oh, that raw Zengon came with the fucking blast. She got yeeted. Adios, adios.
Fitz? しっかりしてフィッツ。
何事ですか？
ルーク、襲撃がありました。至急医者を。はっ。しっかり今助けます。頑張って。
Ooh, phenomenal audio design. Phenomenal fucking audio design there. Holy shit, dude. Just like the hearing of someone like being separated and going away. That was beautifully done. 10 out of 10 audio designer. That was good. That was good shit. Like you can hear it just to like, oh man, oh man.
できた少女は有名な暗殺者、嫁の鷹だと判明しました。今まで何人もの貴族が犠牲になっているようです。
体の具合はフィッツ？
もう大丈夫。毒は少量だったし。
was just a little bit of poison. It was just a rattlesnake bite. You know, it wasn't just fucking walk it off. It was a little bit of poison. It was nanomachine, son. It was just a little bit of poison, you know? It's just a flesh wound. Oh, I fucking love Fitz, dude. Holy shit.
今回のことではっきりしたのは、敵は宮殿の中にいること。この先いつ襲撃があるか。ここは一度留学という形で国を出るのが良いかと。
私に逃げろと。
逃げるのではなく生きるのです。必ずチャンスは巡ってきます。
わかりました。他国で要人とつながりを持ち、好機を待つ。それが必要かもしれません。
お供します、アリエル様。
ありがとう、ルーク。フィッツ、あなたを守護術師の任から解きます。
なんで？
私はあなたの王宮への不法侵入という罪につけ込み、守護術師として仕えさせてきました。あなたの意志を無視して。ごめんなさい。
Pretty awesome.
あなたの望みである家族や友人を探し出すこともできない。
Guys, let's give it up in the chat for her, dude. That's straight up like fucking Doritos in the chat for her. Like, that is extremely fucking based, the fact that she even knew that and she acted upon that, which means that empathy and knowledge, like, you know, while she does acknowledge the fact that like she did, oh well, welcome on through, I appreciate you. That she did acknowledge the fact that like, hey, you know what, I know that I acquired your services through this, like, here's an option for you, right? That's fucking phenomenal. That is an absolute like phenomenal way of writing, that a character has introspective knowledge to be able to go through, and it's not just I am good, I am noble. It's like, hey, you know what, this character's thinking. This character's thinking about how the world is affecting them and why they must act in a certain way and how they empathize with others. That's huge. That is unbelievably huge.
私に力がないばかりに。もうこれ以上あなたに迷惑をかけるわけにはいきません。今日限りであなたを。
嫌だ。
Yeah, where does she go?
アリエル様は僕を友達だと言ってくれた。アリエル様も僕の友達だよ。友達が困っていれば力になりたい。危険な目に遭えば助ける。迷惑なわけないよ。今度は自分の意志で。僕はアリエル様と一緒に行きたい。
Friends. Can I get a hell yeah for Friends, ladies and gentlemen? That's fucking amazing. But like one episode, they managed to tell a whole story about friendship and growth, and I'm gonna drop a fucking Dorito for that. That's beautiful, man. Oh, fuck yeah, brothers. Hell yeah, brothers. That's what it's about. It's about friends. It's about friendship. Hell yeah, brothers. Oh, the power of friends.
私は必ずこの国の王になります。
That's a big.
我らが未来の王、アリエル・アネモイ・アスラ王女殿下。
僕は友達を守るためにこの道を選んだ。あの日からずっと悪夢は見ていない。
Whoa. And they walk there. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, what a lot of amazing concepts to talk about. Like for an episode 0, this has brought up like countless different little topics to go ahead and talk about, right? So her agent of healing was killing as an assassin based. No. So it's like even taking the time to go ahead and like realize what was happening and how like everything that was going on. I'm impressed. I'm legit impressed because this story of change a symbolic because it's literally not correct. Could be that they're going through a rough journey together and they're teaming up. But one of the big things that I took away from this is the fact that like even through the hell and chaos and roles that are established in this world, you could still make friends. You can still make friendships. You can still make so many more things. I am curious as to like, you know, this might have been happening during the same time as like Rudius's story. Abso-fucking-lutely, right? But this in particular, wow. Wow. It's one of the few times where I've been flabbergasted and I've been like thrown back a little bit because it's showing a story of like Sylphie's growth, of Sylphie advancing and evolving and becoming the individual that we will potentially see coming up. I'm wow. I don't like them leaving the carriage out of the ending. There's a carriage. Oh, they're going to courage. Oh, well, I'm guessing it's just symbolic of the friendships and struggles that they might appear. If I remember right, they leave around the time that Rudy leaves the demon continent, roughly. My question for you guys is this: is this school arc that is coming up? Do they do this justice? That is what I'm throwing up out there. I know that it's a school arc per se that's coming, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw that out there and ask you guys: do you feel like they will probably like, you know, that this is a good arc that's coming up? You know, you guys know I'm all about attachments, power dynamics, how people incorporate into one another, what it means like to be in a social environment like that. Also, Phantom Crow, the Crippet, and all of you guys, thanks so much for the follows. Yeah, they're gonna nail it. Yeah, that is definitely how you see they do it in anime. I actually really like the school arc. You'll love the school arc. Yeah, that's why I'm like I'm super duper curious about all of that. I'm like, how is this gonna evolve into that? And also, sí, la novela es absolutamente increíble. Oh, so stark for the school arc. Yeah, I'm excited for what this gonna show, because for me, they've introduced new characters, right? And the introduction of these new characters also incorporates how Sylphie's connections might come into play later on. The weakest arc, but that's 2 to 3 volumes that set up the next 12 to 13 volumes. Damn, Alto Guide, 2 to 3 volumes that set up the next 12 to 13. Woo! Woo! There is a little arc before the school arc, though. Well, yeah, I know that there might be a little arc before that, so I'm really, really curious. It was done well. I have confidence, at least much better than the manga did. Aside from that, I do have another question, which is in regards to the animation, because I feel like people might have like said something about it. I don't know. I'm an anime only, and so far I'm liking it. Like, I think it's a-okay. But I have a feeling that people might say something about like, oh, it looks the episode was outsourced. I mean, I thought it was fine. The anime only, again, like I've only read like the novels that I have read or chapters that have all been on stream. But oof, wow, this episode was made after the season. Oh shit! People say episode 0 was unplanned and done in a hurry. Was it? Holy shit! Holy, yeah! Wow. Episode was really was not really action heavy, so it's okay. Well, I'm curious to see how this is going to evolve. This has been a really, really interesting episode. I kind of wish that there was an opening, how to put it, like an opening sequence here, like an actual OP, so that way we could take it apart and see what shows in the OP, what doesn't. But for what it was worth, for what it showed, I thought it did a phenomenal job. I thought it actually, these claims are somewhat true, but not fully true. I think it showcased a lot about the character dynamics and the dynamics of the Assyrian nobles at play here and what it means to be a part of this nobility, right? It also establishes it softly brought us back into the world to remember what happened. So did it do its job doing that, ladies and gentlemen? Would you say episode 0 reminded you of what happened, brought you back into the story, and even added on to what may come? I love OP analysis because it's 2 to 3 minutes of a lot of contextual information crammed in, right? The story wise as to what it's telling is beautiful. At least I think so far. Somewhat. Crazy Waldo says somewhat. They didn't mention Luke's family name. What? Luke has a family name or something? Episode 0 made me an empty addict once again. Nanosag, let's go. How you doing, by the way? Importance of characterization of the story. Absolutely. That for me, I felt like, okay, I'm back into Mushoku Tensei. It wasn't just like a, hey, bah, here comes in Rudius, you know, like automatic shit. No, it was like a, hey, this is what happened. These are characters, like not that characters, but side characters that you've known. This is what's happening in their environment, and we're coming into this, which is actually pretty fucking great, you know. That's why I'm like that's wild. That is absolutely wild. I just can't say it enough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna take a quick little break, a quick 3-4 minute break. I'm gonna see if I think SP's on. SP, are you on? I see that your tag is on. That's why I'm like, if SP's on in like a couple minutes, we'll bring SP on and we'll have a little conversation about what we just experienced, how episode 0 was, what is going on, so on and so forth. All right, SP is on, ladies and gentlemen. I just got a message from him. Give me a couple minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. And then SP is going to be joining us live in a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have the one, the only, the Ristacular SP here. Dude, how are you? How have you been?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's definitely been a long couple of days. I've been up 2.5 days, almost non-stop, with a couple of hours of sleep. So the excitement, the adrenaline is pumping through me.
Well, I was going to say, like, we've been hyped up about this episode 0, coming through. Quite literally, you've been on the train on Twitter, on everywhere, like day by day, posting like 22 days, 7 days. Like, you've been nonstop about it. So first off, I know you just came out of your podcast with Nat. Congratulations, by the way, on that. That must have been fucking fantabulous. But next week, I'm excited to have her on.
Just as yours went up, so we sent everyone to you.
Oh, that's wonderful. I appreciate you. Y'all are wonderful individuals. Guys, in case you guys aren't following FB and Nat, you guys should definitely go follow. Through that, though, why don't we break down this episode? Because clearly a lot happened, man.
There is a lot to discuss in this episode. Definitely a lot. Especially after all the fear that people had when seeing the trailer. And I was just like, I have faith, trust in bind. And we were delivered the great gospel of episode 0.
Well, and that's sort of what I'm talking about. Let me go ahead and jump into this because this got a big reaction out of people, which is, were people complaining to you about the animation? Just jumping into it.
They were when the PV first went up, but after the episode aired, a lot of the dissatisfaction disappeared very quickly over the first episode. And I think a lot of it was just concern. One of the things I think some people forgot is that in the first season, when they did the same PVs and the trailers, they actually didn't look that good. They used like the worst still shots, the worst little clips, and it made the first season look kind of a bit weird. And then when season 1 came out, it looked beautiful. So right. A lot of us kind of sat there and thought they've probably done the same thing as season 2, given us a couple of weird janky shots, and then after that everything was there. And yeah, it was episode 0 was everything that I'd hoped for, which I was surprised that they did this part of the story first, but it's really nice because now we don't have to do the whole who's Sylph.
You don't have to walk in and get in trouble again by everyone.
Yes, chat doesn't have to crucify me for accidentally saying Sylphia instead of Fitz.
That was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. Just seeing chat get all like who. I do gotta ask you though, because clearly we're seeing a sort of nobility at play here. The power dynamics of nobility present. You like, I know you've read the light novels and everything, but for you, do you feel as though they kind of struck the nobility correctly on this? Do you feel like they maybe toned it down? How do you feel like it rang true closer to like the light novels?
They did follow the sort of nobility feel that I read, but they did tone down Ariel's kinkiness. She's a little bit more crude than that in the light novel. She's really, really kinky. And Luke's pretty crude as well. They're both definitely got some acquired tastes when it comes to what they like.
Oh gosh. I was gonna say that's sort of an area that I feared almost immediately, was like, oh yeah, she's definitely gonna sleep with Sylphie. And then like it didn't happen. I was like, wait a minute, maybe I'm wrong, because it was like everything was leading to that way. I was like, okay, nobility, power dynamics present, the pinging that's happening, the social pinging. I'm like, okay, so she's more than likely gonna lead her to bed now that she's empathized off of this trauma moment, trying to build up from there. As fucked up as it is, manipulators and people nobility, the way nobility was, that's my big assumption, but it didn't happen, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm wrong about that character. But hearing the fact that in the light novel she's kinky, I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense.
I think a lot of us were just very happy to see that the bed scene was in there, because that was a lot of fun and a lot of play. There is a fair bit that was pruned out, because it's clear that there's a couple of extra chapters that basically got pruned out, that to cover Fitz's backstory of what happened, it should have at least been about 2 episodes. And that's when you noticed in chat people talking about the car, because there's an extra chapter, and it doesn't worry that I talk about this because it's not going to be in the anime, because they've clearly skipped it.
Right.
After they basically decide to leave, they basically get a car and they take some body doubles. So at the end of season 1, there's 2 girls that are standing near Ariel, and they're actually the doubles, because basically Ariel wears a special ring, and the other person will wear the ring as well, and it basically allows them to change their appearances, and that was in the extra chapter. It's meant to be used as a decoy, and maybe you might see that ring, who knows. But that was basically a little extra chapter that got skipped. That is basically where one of the body doubles did run into some problems, because continued assassination plots do happen during that period, but instead they cut the cart part out and just kind of did sort of like a Lord of the Rings style, where they're trekking through the snow. I know some people wanted the cart, but I guess they decided to go with the trekking through the snow instead.
Yeah, because I noticed that the moment that the ending popped up, it was just people being like, that's not the ending I knew, almost immediately off of that, which makes sense. I mean, if they changed it, I sort of wonder if it's for time, right? Or
I did see some comments, some saying, oh, well, they might bring it back up. I doubt they'll bring back the cart stuff, because the way I see it is it important enough that they want to go back and explain that? And to me, that's a no. Now, there is some stuff they did skip that could be important unless they do some wiggling around, and that's to do with Derek. Derek is actually one of the big motivators for why Ariel decides to take that position of, okay, we're going to leave and I'm going to come back one day and take the position of the leader, because of Derek's death and how it impacted her. But that was skipped over. Now, some fans think that that might be covered later on as a flashback. I don't think it will. I think the anime will just do something anime original, and they've not been scared to do anime original stuff to explain things and explain motives. And I'm sure the staff at Bind are more than capable of creating some unique situations to fill in gaps where needed. But it's one of those where some parts skipped do make sense and some things toned down, like the kinkiness. I do wonder if they toned the kinkiness down just so people didn't get too riled up, because she is very, very fun.
Well, let's jump into it. I feel like, because this is all going in one video for me, my brother. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, if we're gonna have a discussion, let's have a discussion about this. Is, do you feel as though, and then this is me throwing it, just being straight up about it, because season 1 they got a lot of flack for it. I'm pretty sure still remember communities and people just shitting on it because it's like, oh, the sexualization of Rudius and whatnot, that might have been an indicator for toning down the sexuality of Ariel.
It could be. I think it is interesting that they did tone it down, because I feel like, again, I go back to that kind of mindset of it doesn't need to be there, and if removing it would have had any major impact. It doesn't change anything overall as a story, but it does add a bit of flavor to her personality. But I think toning it down a little bit might have just made it a little bit more digestible. It could be also, I was going to say due to ratings, but they rate this pretty high anyway, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, it doesn't change much with her but it does make me wonder why they did tone it down as much as they did. But
do you mind if I ask you this? Because like I'm just gonna ask you a question. I'm pretty sure they're not gonna showcase it, but if it has anything to do with hypersexuality or hyposexuality in general, I'm actually really, really curious because as an individual, like as a psychologist looking on in, usually one of the questions that we do in an intake is in regards to that is like, for example, 15 through or like, your teen years, you tend to be a little bit more sexual than usual because you're flooded with hormones. But then there comes the questions of if you're being hypersexual and if you are being hypersexual, why? So if there is hypersexuality or hyposexuality, like not enough, and like this is what like something that was cut, now I feel like I'm missing a big piece as to who this character might actually be. Like if there's trauma involved, that's that's the concept I'm getting at, nothing else.
I don't think toning it down will change how people completely perceive her.
Sure.
There'll definitely be some moments where, let's just say in the future, where she'll still have an opportunity to show a more flirtatious, kinky side of her. And that's obvious because you've seen straight away that she does have a very playful manner about her. But there's still many opportunities they could show it. I mean, some have thought maybe it's due to budgets. The only stuff I can think is budget-wise is like the Derek stuff, the cart stuff. That makes sense from a budget. If they've just not got the time to add in an entire extra episode, they could have just pruned that and changed it a little bit.
Right.
But as far as the kinkiness goes, that feels like more of just they made a little bit more of a gentler tone to not go too overboard. The other thing that me and Nat noticed is that they made Ariel look older because she's actually 10 years old in the first scene.
Whoa.
And that's why maybe I think they toned the kinkiness down because she's pretty kinky at 10 years old. So it made me wonder if they toned it down, they made her look a little bit older, and then kind of chat saying 12. My memory is terrible. I haven't slept. So it's either 10 or 12. But still, that's young. 10 or 12. 2 years difference, it's still young. So toning that down might have been the reason why, and making her look a little bit older might have helped as well. And also another thing that also changed was that Ariel never actually told Sylvia right at the start about the incident. It actually was explained to Sylvia a little bit later on that the incident happened, which is why some fans are like, well, it doesn't make sense that Ariel found out so quickly. But news can travel pretty fast across countrysides, whether it's through carrier pigeon or, as I threw in a fun fact in our stream, in ancient Greece, they used to have runners that would run an entire distance from city to city to basically take notes. And they would do it in days. And there was a high chance those runners would die afterwards due to exhaustion. But it is something that did happen back then. So it is a possibility that due to royalty, she found out that information very quickly and then decided to pass it on to Sylvia.
So through that, I guess, because aging her up is a big thing. Like you don't like, ooh, okay, she's older than Rudius and Sylvie. She might be older, but the fact that like, I'm sorry, but the difference between 10 and 12 is not that stark of a difference. I thought she was like 14, 15 at the very beginning. I'm not gonna lie, I thought she was like much older.
Yeah, it makes her look much older.
Yeah. So seeing that difference there, and seeing the fact that at 10 or 12, however old she was already making these sexualized comments at that age. Especially with like the whole undercover thing with forgot his name. One of her bodyguards.
The one that died was Derek, and the other one is Luke.
What was the second one's name? Sorry.
The second one was Luke.
Luke, yeah. Especially with Luke, like they were doing some dirty jokes. There was a lot of sexual connotation in their conversation at the very, very beginning. So I'm like, okay, so she's 12 and she's going over these concepts. It's like, But then it brings it up as well, which is for Luke specifically. Does that mean sex is a motivator for him?
One thing they didn't talk about was his second name. let's just say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh no. Oh no, he's a fucking gray rat, isn't he? Oh no. I'm fucking dead. No. Like, for those of you in chat that are wondering, dude, why can't you read my message? My desktop completely ate shit this week. So I'm literally running off of a gaming computer on the side. Can't really see you guys. I can only see the beautiful and handsome face of Espy. But just straight up, like, bruh. Okay, so if it is, I'm like, how are they going to incorporate this? Especially school arc. Rudius comes in. Where are we going with this story, man? Where are we going with this story? Oh, that's wild. Okay, continuing on with this, I guess my next big question is: there's clearly political strife happening, right? There's clearly political motivations and political everything that's happening, that's evolving in this episode 0. Would you agree with the perception, or what is your perception if you were in Ariel's shoes? What would you do?
Well, I mean, right now she's made the decision to go to the university to study at the academy and use that as an excuse to kind of do the whole runaway, but also as an opportunity to possibly, well, at the end of the last episode for the season, to recruit talented individuals that could assist her. And I'm not sure. I think Sylvia has a really good friend or a teacher that could be a great asset for Ariel. So,
you know, this is sort of what
he was looking into it.
This is exactly what I was like. I was talking about earlier. I was like, you know, through an evil ed perspective, like using dark psychology, what would you do? You start picking up individuals that are talented, smarter than you, more powerful than you, whatnot, in order to go ahead and like deal with political strife, which is interesting that, like, you know, you mentioned that, because now I'm feeling like Rudius might be a pawn in their game, i.e., oh yeah, Sylphie, of course you can go and be, of course you should be there for Rudius. Oh yeah, no, except that, like, you know, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, and now there's a meeting with me and Rudy or something, like, or maybe they meet beforehand. I don't fucking know, but I'm just saying, like, it's clearly that Sylphie's gonna be the interconnected piece then between Rudy and them meeting. So that's wild. That's wild. Okay, so then I guess I'll leave it off with this question for you as well, which is, for nobility at that age and range, knowing that your family might try and kill you, do you feel like that changes your perspective in terms of connections? Like, even for yourself, right? And this is for chat in general. Does trauma change the way that you make connections? And if so, how?
I think it would definitely bring a more cold and calculated approach upon looking at the family, especially if you know that your family is trying to basically knock you out of the picture due to their fear of you possibly rivaling their position and their claim to the throne. And now that she has that motivation, she's very much going to look at that family as like, you are now the enemy. I will do what's necessary to undermine you in any capacity. Now, how she goes about that, that's clearly a long-term goal that she's going to have to put forward. And that's outlined at the end of the episode, that she's got to go forward, go to the academy, and then at the end of the first season, she's looking for assets to assist her in those overall goals. How she's going to use those assets to undermine her political opponents is, I mean, where you'll see some of the more juicy components for the story.
Right. I'm like, cool. I don't know what else flipping around.
And she is a very smart person too. So I feel like those cunning manipulation tactics are going to be really fun to see.
Well, I was going to say, like, I feel like a lot of people try and villainize others for using manipulation tactics, but yeah, it's a part of life. Like, we all use them to an extent to try and get our needs met. So, like, one of the things that I was mentioning to my chat, which was essentially, when we look at these characters, we should not look at them as black or white, but just a scale of gray. And if we were in their positions, what would we do? Like, that's the number one way to empathize and really, like, try and get into a character's mindset and be like, wait a minute. Okay, I see what's going on. So, okay, jumping off from this, were there any weird questions or any interesting questions that popped up with your conversation with your podcast with Nat that you guys had earlier?
I think some people did ask like clarification about some of the missing content. I did see your chat was kind of wondering about the hair, and the hair is explained in the light novels. It's due to magic. If you use up too much magic, or if you use up all your magic, you will have your hair go white. And that's basically Sylphia using as much of her magic as possible, draining it to the complete capacity, trying to survive from falling from that distance. I mean, you can see straight away from the start. As soon as she notices she's falling, she panics. She uses a water spell because it's one of her good spells, and instantly she chokes on it because she doesn't realize, oh, gravity, I'm falling down. I summon water, it goes straight back up. So that's an instant thing. And I mean, logically, that does actually make sense. Use water and fire it down. Right. Because you'd be like, oh, I'll fall into the water and I'll lighten the load, but not realizing that, well, gravity is now going to apply. So you can clearly see she's panicking. That makes sense from the episode itself. That was some of the things that I saw some fans kind of wondering about.
I mean, let's take that even a step further. She's a kid. She won't really fully, like, you know, she's a kid that's falling. It's not just immediately that you're going to know exactly what to do. Even us as adults, you get into a car accident and you don't immediately know what the first steps are unless you've already been through one or you've been in a heightened situation. So yeah, gravity, air resistance,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But okay.
I think sometimes consumers have that, what I like to call an ivory tower approach, where when readers and watchers look down on a story, they sit there and go, well, why didn't that character do that? Or why didn't that character do that? But then you don't realize that if you put yourself in their shoes and see through their lens what only they see and not what we see, the world is very different and those actions would be very different, which is a thing that writers are very much aware that they've got to create that character in a realistic fashion, that they're going to make mistakes because they've not got hindsight, I think is the right word to use.
So let me ask you this. The opening, we opened up with the cold opening here. We opened up with like literally no sound, like in terms of like no spoken words and just cold. Like literally you can tell it was like, you know, it was nighttime, the footsteps, you can hear everything, but yet we can't really hear any words spoken. Was that something that stood out to you?
I thought it was a really nice touch because of the whole name of Silent Fitz. And I think it gave a nice touch to the whole name and the sort of the theme behind Fitz being very silent, not really trying to speak, because clearly Fitz, Ariel, and Luke don't want people to know the true identity of Fitz, because if people knew who Fitz really was, they might try and use that as a political tool. And the one thing that Ariel doesn't want is any form of leverage from anyone on her or her allies or assets. And Ariel's not scared to use her assets to the best of their ability, but she's also, I think, got a sense of caring and loyalty as well. What did you think of Ariel overall? Because to me, I love Ariel. She's just one of my favorite characters in the story, and I really want to know what you kind of think of her and her personality when it comes to her and Fitz.
I found her interesting. I found her interesting specifically, like, I like her personality, right? I like her as a character. And I didn't think I would say that about any noble, but I like her as a character, specifically to do with, like, she addressed, especially like towards the end, like she literally went through her own little character arc in this episode. Like she started off using the same tactics that she knows to use. Control. As a noble, what do? You try and control environment. She was the only one that was giving any info to Sylphie, rather than like a courier coming through and giving a message to Sylphie. No, that information had to come from her. There are many aspects of power and control that were specifically shifted onto her. And yet she realizes all of that towards the end of the episode. And it comes into a full conclusion where she's like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm relieving you of your duties. If you, like, you know, and Sylphie makes a choice to stay with her because they're friends, but they were able to empathize and she was able to go out and be there for her. So for me, this kicks off a whole line of reasoning, which is like her relationship since meeting Sylphie has started an internal change for her to at least be able to go out and empathize more and be like, hey, you know what? Like, I appreciate you. I know what happened. Like, might have been manipulative, might have been a little controlling, but I care about you and you're a friend. And I was like, dude, that's fucking beautiful storytelling. That is so beautiful to like showcase this character that, like, yeah, she might manipulate from time to time, but she realizes it and she's able to go out and adjust from it.
So then the follow-up question is, I'm flipping the power here. What would you think would happen if Rudy entered the picture and there's that kind of situation of like Rudy's entered the picture, Sylphia's known as Fitz is assisting Ariel, is interacting with Rudy. Do you think there would be some major decision that she would have to make where she would have to choose one or the other, or separate, or distance, or what do you think of that possibility and what could happen?
Why not get both? I know that's
it's the taco episode, the ad,
right? 2-for-1 deal, which is essentially, let's say that like I had to choose between you and Nat, right? Like, let's say for some reason I had to choose between you and Nat for whatever reason, and I was really, really close to Nat. This might be really, really greedy of me. I would say, hey, you know what, Nat? Like, why don't you go ahead and go and, like, you know, I'll help you out. I'll be rooting for you to go be with Rudy but do bring him back so that way we can all have a conversation and we can celebrate. Because guess what? Once you come back, all of a sudden we can have a conversation. Not only that, we're all in the same room and I can, you know, we can talk about like power differences. I'd probably try and take you up as a husband or something, because at that point in time, it's like, hey, familia's familia, right? Like, you know, we got to protect our assets and whatnot. So that's sort of like, you're an incredible individual. You have all this magic prowess. So why wouldn't I use my friends and or others to betterment of myself and my country, per se? I am a greedy idol. Yes, Nick Mayer, exactly.
Sometimes you have to be greedy.
Yeah. Although it would be kind of fucked up if I just went in there and stole you from that. You know, that would be another really fucked up scenario to go ahead and take. But it logically speaking, though, I'm like, okay, that's probably the best solution for that I would take, just because it makes more sense to be able to bring you into the fold by also saying, hey, you know what? I was taking care of Nat since she was a little kid. Like, you know, she's been by my side. Like, there might be a little bit more of guilt, motivation, whatnot on your side to stay, like, to make an alliance or something. But again, that's just manipulation tactics. That's just me being a greedy little bitch. So my question for you then is, because they've clearly introduced Ariel now, is Ariel in your top 3 waifus or no?
She is very high on the list.
Oh, okay.
I'd definitely put her. Oh, this is going to upset. Yeah, I'd say she's in the top 3, but the question is, who are the other 2 and who got kicked out of the top 3?
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Now we're getting juicy. Roxy, top 3 or nah?
Nah. I love Roxy, but she's not in my top tier. I'm sorry.
Bruh. Okay. Eris? Now I'm curious. What is your top 3, brother?
Eris is top.
Eris is top. All right. I'm sure she's top, brother. Seeing the way she is, I'm sure she's top. Okay, then what about their second one?
Sylphia.
Okay. Wow, so you kicked down Roxy. That's interesting.
Actually, if it went in an order, it would go Eris, Sylphia, Ariel, Eloise, and Roxy.
That kind of makes sense. Never mind, I take that back. That kind of makes sense.
And what's funny is I'm going to tease you a little bit here and say someone being above a Roxy makes it even more funnier.
Wait, what?
And let's just say Roxy got beaten by someone very close.
Oh no. Oh, wait. Oh no. Oh, what do you mean by that?
I'm trying to word it without people working it out too heavy, like without spoiling it. But basically, the list goes. My list of who I think's favorite is Eris, Sylphia, Ariel, Elise, and Roxy. And one of them, let's just say, beat her even though they have a very special connection.
Is it Elise? Oh, those eyes!
Maybe?
No, those eyes! Those eyes!
How do you do that with the eyes? What is the eyes? Is it the shiftiness?
You do something with your eyes. You tend to look like bottom right, bottom bottom left for those in chat. Whenever like you go a little uncertain about something. So it's usually like whenever you're about to tell, like, get close or whatnot, your eyes are beautiful, man. That's all I gotta say is your eyes are wonderful.
Wow, I'm impressed that you notice like those subtle little details like that. Like the way my eyes move in specific patterns. That's an attention to detail. So you got to commend Ed there, chat. The fact that he can pick up those finer details proves that he is a wizard in itself.
Bruh. No, I love you, man. I feel like it's because we've had a lot of interactions together and we just know one another's like body language and facial expressions and stuff like that. We're able to pick up on stuff a little bit quicker. But that's what we do with shows, man. We look at a show, we analyze it, we see new stuff, and we're like, So okay, well then this brings up my next question, right? With Elise, because she hasn't been introduced this season just yet. Neither has the rest of the cast, but do you feel like, because I'm guessing Mushoku Tensei is going to be split up into 2 cores again, right?
Yes, we're not sure. Well, the rumor is it's going to be 25 episodes. That would count episode 0, so we've got 24 to go. There was some talk that the first core would be 11, and then 14 for the other one, but it could also be the other way around. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. That's just rumors going around, but the sources that are saying it are pretty solid. It's just, yeah. So clearly, they might be putting some more attention to one core over the other.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel, right, because let's say core 1, we're actually gonna dive deep into like some of these like side characters like Geese or Elise, or is that for like a future seasons, future I don't know.
So what was the question exactly?
Do you feel, in your perspective, are we going to dive deeper into like Elise, Geese, all of these wonderful side characters that have been introduced? Not really side characters, they're just characters introduced into the series, like within these, like the first core, or are we going to like see them later on?
The one thing about Mushoku Tensei is I don't really see a lot of these characters as side characters. I see them as the main cast of a big cast. But of course, Rudy is the center stage. He's like, I guess, in a way, the center orb to the story. But everyone else, you could say, is a side character, but I just feel like they all play such a meaningful role and they come and go in the story so much. They're not side characters, it means they all feel like characters. Rudy's just the centerpiece of it all. But Geese and Elise will play some role in the season. When, how big, and their impact will be definitely something that I think I'm really excited to see how you respond to certain aspects of certain characters. And I mean, Elise was shown in the trailer quite a fair bit. So I mean, you already saw her in the outfit as well, so you know she's going to be at the academy. So.
Well, hold on, guys, because you're saying that SP, your voice was turning into static for a second there. Oh, it's better now. Okay, it's better. It took a little second there. That was terrifying.
I'll just check. Test. Is it good?
All right, chat. Is that good? Oh, it's good now. Everything good now. Okay, yeah, it was fixed.
Okay, good.
But one of the big questions that pops up for me, at least, is clearly, like the reason why I like this show and the reason why I actually like just diving deep into it, like I don't know, I vibe with the show is the fact that it goes over how life is. Hate to put it this way, you're the main character of your own story, but everything else that other people do affect you. Just the way that everything that you do affect others, right? And so for me, seeing a show incorporate this, where it's not just like, Rudy is turning Super Saiyan Blanco for the 5th time in a row, and everyone's like, oh wow, he's so OP, but rather like, hey, you know what? Raylight or, you know, Espy decided to go ahead and riz up the wrong person. That person's in a bad mood, came through, started yelling at me. Now I'm in a rough mood. I'm kind of sad because my self-esteem's affected. And it's like a continuous cycle. And that's sort of what I find beautiful about the way that the writing was done for Mushoku Tensei. So for you, are there any takeaways or any big impacts or any takeaways that you wish people take away from this season coming up?
I would definitely say don't judge a book by its cover and don't judge a character too quickly and too harshly. Because there's some characters that you're going to hate right at the start, and then you're going to see under sort of that layer. It's like an onion. The more layers you go deeper, the more you're going to realize there's some really interesting parts to those characters. And so it's definitely, I feel like it's going to be an interesting theme of don't judge a character too quickly just because you see the imperfections.
Here we go. I'm fixing you up. But yeah, and I think that's a big moment, which is imperfections. My thing is, does a character have to be perfect though?
Absolutely not. I think what makes great characters is the imperfections, because I think that's one of the biggest issues that I have with a lot of animes is the too perfect kind of situation, especially isekais. There's always those power fantasies where everything's just way too picture perfect, and it just feels plain and boring. It's like eating a cracker with nothing. It's just, it's all right. You can enjoy it, but what I love about Mushoku Tensei, and it's why I've just become so hooked in it, is every character has a unique flavor and a spice to it, or a tanginess that's just, it's unique, and it's those imperfections that add so much ability to kind of think more deeply about them.
So, okay, well, there's two specific scenarios that are popping up to me that I guess I kind of want your opinion on, which is there was a particular scene where we see Fitz get a little bit like social anxiety, if we're going to be honest about it, right? A panic attack per se, because of all the noises and stuff that we heard. I found it interesting that it was sort of a parallel towards like, not like sort of what would happen if Rudy was, I guess, a normal kid. Like Rudy was in a similar environment full of nobles, but yet because he was able to talk, he was able to go ahead and like become a likable character for a lot of people. Smart ass his way wherever he could. But yet Fitz being in the same environment and having her voice taken away from her agency taken away from her, leads to her having a panic attack. For me, like that scene really stood out because I've never really seen an anime showcase like social anxiety to that point in a way like that.
I feel like with Rudy, he was introduced into larger crowds and especially high class society a lot more better. And I think some of his past experiences were dealing with probably not difficult people per se, but just a variety of different people. And even though there were definitely some traumas in his past life, he probably still had those experiences still kind of muscle memoried into dealing with different individuals and how to kind of reflexively be like, okay, if I messed up here, quickly adapt, listen, observe kind of situation. But with Fitz or Sylvia, they went from someone that was very heavily sheltered. Like their family was, of course, their mum and their dad and Paul and Zenith. They were like the second family. And so I don't think Sylvia really had many opportunities to adapt to large groups of people outside of like Sylvia and Paul and Zenith and their family. So as soon as you get thrown into high class society, you're told that you can't talk. And that's another problem though too, is that if you can't talk, you've got to communicate in a different form. And there's many ways to communicate without sound, but it can be really challenging if you're thrown in or thrusted into that very prematurely. And I think that's something that Sylvia has to adapt to, is adjusting to not just high-class society and their customs, but also having to communicate in a form that's non-verbal as well.
Well, I mean, also, Raccoon, thanks so much for the raid. I appreciate you a ton. When it comes to this specifically, it's Sylphie was bullied as a child. Boom, Rudy comes along, her life changes for a couple of months. Displacement incident, she's now being bullied by nobility. So you're telling me that, like, you know, especially for someone her age, like how can she adjust so quickly to a society like that, where it's like, you know, Rudius was sort of her saving grace for a little bit, her tranquil period where she didn't have to deal with like bullying in that form, right? Social bullying. And now she's back in it and it's even worse. And that's like, for me, that like that struck a chord in my mind as watching this. I was like, ooh, like wait a minute, that's yeah, that's a bit rough. That's a bit rough for Sophie to be put in the same environment where she thought she came from or she got out of.
Yeah, and I think it's also more difficult for her because of the type of environment. With Rudy, yes, it was hostile, but Eris was really the only hostile one. But with Sylvia, everyone is an enemy except Luke and Ariel. Like, everyone is a potential threat. So it's something where she's going to be very diligent, but her job is also to keep an eye on Ariel as well. So there's a lot of, I think, weight being put on Sylvia, and I think that can really add stress, and especially when you're thrown into an environment where it's foreign and you've got all those responsibilities, it can feel very overwhelming, and it kind of makes you just kind of space out, and you're just like, what do I do? How do I deal with these? And then you start noticing all the sounds and you're panicking. You're like, oh, they might be talking about me. They're saying something, they're whispering. So I think those can be very emotional and overloading for the senses and emotions overall.
Well, I mean, you're hitting on a big point there, which is fight or flight. So I brought up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I was showing so many things. There's fight or flight. That's a constant, right? Because you have to be vigilant. You never know when someone might attack, whatnot. You literally are in an environment where you're displaced. You've been thrown into that same environment that triggered you as a child that you were dealing with, which is bullying. Your employer at any time can get rid of you and can have you executed and or killed if the secret comes out. So you have like layered trauma. And this is a big aspect for the PTSD, the dreams, the nightmares that Sylvie was having. For me, that was like a key indicator. Like, wait a minute, maybe, you know, and it was a huge aspect as to why I was like, sex might be an aspect that's introduced for Sophie and for this character, because a lot of people don't know that, like, sometimes sex, like when sex is used as a form to heal, it can become toxic and it can become an environment where it's like, oh yeah, SV's having a bad day, I'll just go over and have sex with them and boom, he'll be magically healed, you know, when it can in fact be the connection that we form. So through that, I guess all that layered trauma that she's going through, is this something that we might see addressed going forward, or is she healed?
I think there's still a fair bit of that journey of healing, and I think that's a journey that she'll have to go on her own. Maybe she might have others assist, but who those people are, how they assist, I think it's something that she's definitely got to still overcome. And I think a lot of that also comes down to responsibility as well, because clearly she has a responsibility to fulfill, and it's that she has to keep her identity secret due to those reasons of being used as a political or a weapon against Ariel as a political thing. So it's kind of a responsibility. How is Sylvia going to adapt to those responsibilities, and when is she going to make that decision of, I need to move on beyond that responsibility?
Right.
And how will that unfold? And who will be the catalyst that will push that forward?
Man, I'm so fucking excited to see her story unfold, and Rudius and everyone. Like, we're having this conversation, and in here, I'm like playing things out in my mind. I'm like, okay, how can this go? How could this be affected? And I'm like, okay, instantly, like, will she, like, my mind's like, will she take on the role of Fitz for Rudy? Will Rudy even recognize that it's her? Like, my mind's just like spiraling through a bunch of shit, because I'm like, there's so much at play here for these two characters that it's like, do you assume the identity that you've been given, or do you keep the identity of your past?
This episode's really messed up because you're doing all these theories.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be a while before you even think about these theories again.
No. We will have to see him find out. Wow. Holy shit. Well, I don't know what else to say other than, like, I think for episode 0, I personally liked it. What score did you give it? If you could give it a score out of 10, what would you give it?
I'd definitely give it an. I mean, maybe I'm a bit biased, but probably definitely. I shouldn't rate it so highly, but I was going to say 9 out of 10. But maybe that's just me being biased. Maybe 8.5. But I really did like how they did things. Just the fact that Ariel's voice actor was really nice. The music, the atmosphere, that kind of subtlety to the sound, especially at the start where it was silent. And then the wind and how fast it was going and that urgency of Sylphia falling from the sky and how they portrayed it.
Right.
Sure, you can always nitpick at little pause frames and that kind of stuff, but to me, I don't really do that kind of stuff. I always try and consume it as a whole, which is what I feel like is the right approach. But I think they did a really good job. I am still surprised that they did episode 0 the way they did it. I mean, chat was talking about it. It is just a rumor that these, and how true this is that the Sylphia voice actor, the VA, came out and said that episode 0 was done after, well, the voice acting was done after episode 1. So maybe episode 0 was meant to happen later and they just decided to push it forward. That's just possibility based on rumors and speculation. But that's why I think some people were concerned it was going to be rushed, but I don't think it was rushed. I think, well, depends on how you define rushed, because rushed can also mean different things. It can be like, oh, is the episode's production rushed or is the story rushed? I think the story was rushed in that sense, but it made sense to skip over some of that stuff because, again, light novel with anime, you're never going to get a one-to-one. But as far as production goes, I think this just felt like the same as what I expected from season 1. I think maybe some people put rose-tinted glasses on, but as some other fans have said, you know, even if it was a little bit of a downgrade, it's still amazing nonetheless. So I'm glad to see so many fans are still really excited and all the doom and glooms kind of died out. So I'm just really happy that people are enjoying it. And I think now that it's out, I think a lot of people are going to be like, and just enjoy the ride. I think people are just getting anxious waiting for it because there's so much hype. And I mean, I was counting down the days. I mean, I was even counting down the hours. People were like, oh, it's coming in like, Chibi was making a tweet about it. He's like, oh yeah, it's coming out in a week. I'm like, actually, it's 5 days and 6 hours. And he's like, wait, really? He's like, yeah.
You're like, I have it down to the T. I saw that, man. I kept seeing you like throw up everything, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you're really on top of it. I've been counting down as well. I've had my own little like Mushoku Tensei Day coming up, Mushoku Tensei Day. That's why I'm like, oh man, this is fucking hype. The fact that we finally get our first little taste of Mushoku Tensei. I'm glad that like
because I was holding back content. I wasn't doing anything on my analysis channel, and I was just like, I'm just gonna wait for Mushoku. I was just like really excited. I read volume 20. Kind of got into that, and then I was like, all right, I'll release that on the night, and then I was like, I'll go to bed later, get up, and then I'll talk about the new episode, and just very excited, very hyped, but I'm just kind of preparing myself for it. So I'm really happy you enjoyed it because you're the one reactionary channel that I'm like eagerly awaiting to just see every analyst. That's why I made sure to get up. Well, actually, I just stayed up just to watch your Mushoku Tensei kind of reaction to it because it's just so fun to kind of see those what you get right, what you don't get right, and how you rectify that kind of journey of discovering what the story is. I think it's just really fun, and I really enjoy that content that you produce.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you a ton. And like this is my number one thing because I know there's gonna be a lot of people out there being like, "Oh, you're a wizard," or like, you know, like, "Oh, he's read the light novels before." And to that, like, guys, I get a lot of fucking things wrong as well. Like, my job is not to like predict or whatnot the future. It's just talk about the characters, analyze them. That's literally what it's always been about. Plus, we have SB here and all of chat and mods and a bunch of wonderful individuals that like, you know, we do stuff picture by picture and yeah, great. No. But that's why I'm like, I'm so excited, especially because I know Nat's joining us next week, right?
So, yeah. She had some technical issues at the start of our stream, and she had slowed internet. Then for some reason she couldn't hear me, but she could hear everything else, and there was just one technical problem after another. So she was just kind of stressed out after it.
That's why I'm like, yeah. So next week we can just start off with. Hopefully, if you guys are available here, I might even bring you guys on and we can have a full-on discussion about what we're saying. I think that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so fucking happy. So I will give this episode a solid 8 point something out of 10. I will, and that's only because I was mentioning this is it felt like a reintroduction to the world, and yeah, I can see this being like thrown out there as like some point in the future as like an episode that was supposed to be, but having it been done beforehand, I feel like now we can just focus on the future orientation of what may come. 8 point something is a solid and fair grade. Thanks, Victor. I appreciate it. It is. It was a good episode. It was a really, really good episode. At least I thought so. Like, in terms of character dynamics, world building, so on and so forth. Like the essentials of what makes a good story and what like pushes us along as a viewer to be like, what is happening in this world? It was all there for me.
They picked some really good. Oh, well, they picked a really good voice actor for Ariel. I just kind of liked the actual voice actor because it really added a nice. It just something about it kind of added a nice charm to her and made her kind of feel very seductive, almost in a way.
Ooh. So, Espy, are you going to be the English voice actor for Ariel? Ooh, Ariel VA was goated, absolutely. So, through that, I do have a question for you. Are we like? Do you feel like we're getting the opening soon, or next episode, or something?
I think so. Yeah, I think doing the opening next episode makes the most sense just because, well, we already know what the title is. And I think everyone's already guessed. Rudy will be back next episode. So I think that's the most appropriate time to put the opening to kind of fit the theme of his journey going forward. And I think it is kind of a nice touch. The first episode being episode 0 goes back to the extra chapters that were skipped over in season 1, which made sense to be skipped, and then spending the first episode on Rudy and where is he going right after, basically picking off from the end of season 1.
What is the next episode's title? Do you happen to know it?
I've read it a million times and I keep forgetting, but it's The Depressed Wizard, I think.
Hey, yo!
The Depressed Magician.
Oh, I was about to say Depressed Wizard. Hey, yo! He's gonna be welcomed into the family of wizards here.
Yeah, I think it is Depressed Magician, but we'll just go with Depressed Wizard because it's the theme.
The Depressed Wizard episode. Oh man, it's gonna be awesome. But no, the Heartbroken Mage, Depressed Magician. Yeah, I wonder who that is. That's gonna be amazing. I am so excited to get into that and to see Rudius, I guess teenager Rudius or more grown up Rudius, and what may come from that. But through that, okay, do you have any words for any of the I wouldn't say like I guess people who never really gave Mushoku Tensei a chance and are watching this for the first time? Or maybe even the haters, if you want to give them that.
I think people are going to really enjoy season 2, but I also think it's not like some high action story. I think the whole thing about Mushoku Tensei is the journey, the roller coaster, the highs and the lows, and even if it's going down slowly, there's some really nice touches to that, and that's why I'm really looking forward to the Academy. It's one of my favorite arcs, is because, yes, you can have those crazy moments, the turning point chapters, but even the normal sort of slice of life, plain life, those moments can feel really nice, and I just hope fans take a moment to kind of, as the saying goes, stop and smell the roses, because I just think there's some characters that I think people will really love, and even in the coming episodes and in the future episodes, there are some characters that, as I mentioned before, don't judge them too quickly. Let that onion peel and then see the other layers to them. But I mean, to be honest, I love those reactions where people have those instant sort of knee-jerk reactions of being like, oh, I hate this character, oh, I love that character.
Yeah.
Seeing that, but I think also just think about them a little bit more. Think about the possibility of, if you hate them or if you love them, what could make you change your mind about that?
Absolutely. Through that, I will say, treat this anime like the way you would treat life. In terms of not everyone's going to come out and be like, haha, I am the main villain. Let me tell you all about my villain plan. Or I am a good person. Yay. Like people, like, as you mentioned, layers, right? No one that you meet, it tells you everything about their life, right? Some people may trauma dump. Don't get me wrong, but not everyone's gonna trauma dump or like let you know everything about them all at once. So it's always best to assume that a character always has more to them than what is immediately being shown. And I think that's a key thing there, is also not judging them and empathizing with them. Because if you can empathize with the character, you can grow, you can learn as an individual, and you can also reflect, which I think is a big aspect. Like, if I were to ask this, right, for everyone in chat and SP, how has Mushoku Tensei changed your life? Just in terms of the story, if it has, or how has it impacted it?
I think for me, it's really opened my eyes to imperfections in a character, and that's something that I've kind of really grown to love and kind of almost crave again in more stories, is seeing those imperfections. It's just, I feel like a broken record always saying it, but it's just that one thing that always stands out to me is you see those characters and there's always those little kinks in their armor. And even if they've done something wrong, they are still, in a sense, almost a victim to the situations at hand. It's always just that sometimes bad time, bad luck kind of thing, wrong place, wrong time. And seeing how they adapt to them, I think what really makes that journey fun.
Right. See, I'm seeing a lot of it saved me, it legit saved me. You can always turn things around, even if you feel you're at rock bottom, if you're able to surround yourself with the right people. Rudy deals with failures, what inspires me. It's also amazing how he keeps pushing through despite everything. I'll be honest, my main thing is you'll never find me crapping or like, literally trying to like roast or be like, this anime is absolute garbage. There are some people out there who will literally be like, oh, let's say Mushoku Tensei is out of popularity. They would be like, oh, Mushoku Tensei is absolute garbage. And then like say season 3 is announced, oh man, Mushoku Tensei is amazing. I love Mushoku Tensei. It's like we pick a stance and we stick with it. And mine is that like Mushoku Tensei is a healing journey for a lot of people because they can reflect and they can see themselves in a lot of these characters and literally take that journey of change with them. So for me, it's like that's why I mentioned it before. If anybody craps on Mushoku Tensei and they're like, there's nothing psychological about it, or they're shitting on like, sex and how it's seen or used in the scene, or anything psychology related, send them my way. I'm more than happy to talk to them or debate with them about it, because clearly they're not watching the same show, or they're using a really like filtered lens to only like take in their own biased perspective instead of an outside view.
I think there's definitely going to be some big topics this season at particular certain points. I got it in my head which major points in the story or which major events are going to hit some major discussions. And even though some of them are already been brought up in the community, it will be probably at those points when they'll be the best to discuss certain very hot topic words. But I think family is a big theme, I feel like. Family and friends in Mushoku Tensei. I feel like that's something that it's not just impacts Rudy as well, it impacts other characters, is those that surround you defined and can shape a lot of who you are and how you respond to different situations. I mean, that's something about Rudy's trauma as well from the past, is that as much as his parents in the past tried their best, for some reason in his new life, the friends and the family that he has in his new life were able to shape him more appropriately. And I think that's what some of the haters really miss, is the lesson of human nature, learning and healing.
Yeah.
Because I think Rudy, he heals and then he learns, because he can't learn if he's broken and he's distorted and distracted and just angry, bitter, scared. You're not going to learn anything because you're going to be too busy in that constant depressional mode. And I think that's something people will learn in this season as well. But once you're able to heal, you're able to grow and learn and become a more functioning adult or a functioning human being.
See, for me, it's like seeing, of course, I don't know anything further than like season 1, but in this episode, but it's about connections. The power that connections have to heal and hurt, and the journey that life is with that, right? Because sometimes we form amazing connections and friendships or romantic relationships. We form stronger, like, we can start healing, we can start going through that process, and that connection ruptures, and all of a sudden you start spiraling down until you find connection, support systems, or friends, or whoever else out there. And I think if we take a look at Earthius versus Rudius, we see the difference that connections genuinely make. Like actually having friends, actually having a support system there, someone that can connect with you and empathize with you and help you build you up, versus, you know, locking yourself in your room and not having anybody there. And for me, that was like a big mirror I feel like a lot of people took with them, where they're like, they might see aspects of themselves in Rudius and be like, wait a minute, I can change. Like I can, like Rudius went through this big process, or Earthius went through this big process. If he can change, I can change as well. And others as well.
Yeah. I think going back to that point that you did bring about asking chat and me, and I feel like it's starting to kind of click a little bit better, or be a bit more clearer in how I want to word it, is that the friends, but also the journey that Rudy's gone on has created a community around the series that I think has also shaped me as an individual, because it's allowed me to see not just the characters in the world, but also other characters outside of the anime, other people that have been impacted, and the friendships that you make along that journey of watching something. It's like a group watch, but on a bigger scale. Like everyone's kind of watching it together week by week, and they're all coming together discussing about it, and you're learning a lot of little things, not just on your own personal watching, but also other people watching and them giving their own contributions, saying, hey, this is how it impacted me. And then you read that, or you listen to it, and then you're kind of reflecting on it, and then you learn something from it. I think that's one thing that's really kind of struck me with Mushoku Tensei, is not just the anime, how the anime's impacted me, but how the anime's impacted others, and how their impact from that has impacted me as well. It's like a kind of cascading effect.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like this show's been really, really interesting, and just the way that it's approached and it's impacted and talked with so many people. And I feel like a lot of people that come in and shit on it, a lot of people take that personally as well, right? Because all of a sudden it's attacking something personal that's allowed people the room for change. And now, like, taking that into context, it becomes a lot easier to see why, you know, we should be lifting up one another. Like, you can criticize a show, absolutely, but there's a difference between criticizing a show and then going through and just slamming it and calling, for example, if you like the show, just calling them horrific names and starting the whole bullying process again. And like, that is not okay, I think, in any community, in any aspect like that. So that's why I'm like,
yeah. I think what's so sad about that is you see such, it's not even criticism, it's just kind of blind hatred. And all it does is it distances people from the discussion, because when people come in and they hate on others for enjoying a series that they don't like, and they start name calling them G words, P words, all this other stuff, you're instantly removing people from a conversation that you could have, that you could learn from, or you could teach others. And I think that just becomes more destructive in itself. And I feel like they're failing to see the lesson in the anime itself, is that we're all humans. We all have our own journeys. We all learn as we go along. And the life lessons itself are part of that teaching process. And I feel like they're kind of almost trying to deny people the ability to learn and grow just because they have a blind hatred towards something that they may have a failed understanding of. And I do think it is kind of annoying when you see people take the web novel as the main source material, because there are some things in the web novel that have been changed deliberately, because there are some extremes in the web novel, and it's understandable why they were changed, because it just wasn't appropriate. It didn't really fit the characters. And that's just the thing about web novels. Web novels I've always seen as an exoskeleton, and people shouldn't take web novels as the gospel. Light novel is the main source. If there's a difference, go based on the light novel and the anime, and then because I always see the criticisms, people just use the web novel, like, but in the web novel, it's like, web novel's web novel, ignore the web novel.
You're like, but web novel, everything's a little bit different. And I think the number one, the web novel is like the first draft. Okay, web novels are rough drafts. As for the voice of Rudius, Madeline is currently in vacation with her partner. She mentioned that she would be reaching out if she could make it, or if she couldn't, same thing. She would reach out and let me know. So far, no contact, so we're okay. We did have today planned for her to come on in here, but vacation stuff happens. It is what it is. Best way for me to put it. But with that though, all right, I do wanna end off on this before I take a quick be right back, because I need to go to the restroom. I at least need to get some food or something in me, because I'm feeling myself start dipping a little bit, which is, guys, can we drop the most amazing fucking Doritos and hell yes for SB, the Riz Master himself, who literally has done a podcast, who has literally come here and like stayed up with us all night. Like, SB, you know that you're the fucking man. We love you, man. I'm so happy that you're a part of us and we're able to have like little conversational bits and literally go over everything. I appreciate you to the world and back.
I'm happy to be here. I've been counting down the days for this stream. I'm just like, yes. I've been really looking forward to these, because I'm just like, I enjoy these conversations. They're so fun. You bring so much energy. I was saying to Nat after the end of our stream, I was like, you know, when you started the stream, the energy, and I was like, look at him go. He's got so much energy, vibrance. It's just like, it's, I think the word I was using was infectious. I think it was the right word. I think it was, yeah.
Man, that's what I'm saying. I love you guys. You guys are wonderful individuals. I feel like people often think, oh yeah, content creators are like throw beef behind the back. Nah, man, like we all love each other. Like even on Twitter, you guys can constantly see all the love and support and whatnot that we give one another. I can't say nothing other than SB is always a man. If you guys like him, go follow his channel. SB, shout out your channel so that way they can go follow you, even though the people should already know who you are.
Of course, I am Espiritu. I am doing most, if not all, of my Mushoku Tensei content on the analysis channel. So Espiritu analysis, or just find a Espiritu channel. It'll be at the bottom, and it'll have the link with the little Eris icon, and that's where I'll be doing all my Mushoku content. Spoilers and non-spoilers, of course. I give warnings for spoiler stuff, but it's really going to be a lot of fun discussing about all the little tiny little details, the big, the small, and just the overall growth for so many of these characters, because some of these characters are really amazing. And seeing episode 0, Sylphia, Ariel, Luke, these are some of really amazing characters that I think people are going to really love going forward. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how people respond, particularly anime-only fans. But of course, light novel fans know what's going to happen. But seeing it as well, even as a light novel reader, it's still so much fun.
I will say, chat, let me know if next week you guys want to see SB and Nat join us on an episode analysis, or maybe towards the end, or like the actual beginning. Who knows? Fuck it. We'll figure it out. We'll have a conversation about it.
Yeah, you can pick either one if we come at the end or at the start and watch it all together.
Sure.
Group watch.
As a group watch, we'll throw it up and we'll talk about it and analyze it or something. We'll have a full conversation about it. With that being said, all right, guys, I'm gonna take a quick little break. I need to go grab some food, get my energy back up, because I took my meds, and after I take my meds, I start drifting a little bit. So I'm gonna go take my meds, or go eat, and then I'll be right back, and we'll start off with the surprise poll, I guess. But with that being said, guys, show that love to SB. I can't say that enough. Give him a hell yeah. Drop in all those Doritos to our main man here. Appreciate you, SB.